Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4PlayerNetwork.com. With the onset of our first ever Fantasy Critic League, this has been a fun and exciting year for us. Get our takes on the latest games, industry news, and weekly league updates by joining us for our live recordings every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central on twitch.tv/4playerpodcast, all spelled out. Audio episodes launch on all podcast services Monday mornings at 9 a.m. Central, along with the VODs on YouTube, but Patreon and Twitch subscribers can get the episodes a day or two early each week. No matter how you prefer to tune in, just know that everyone is invited to jump into our lively community Discord at discord.gg/4player. But enough about that, let's get down to business. So, hey everyone, welcome to 4Player Podcast, episode 767. It is August 31st, 2023. I'm your host, Nick Henderson, joined, as always, by Brad Simons. Grunts. Christopher Guthridge.
Hello.
Is that your Tim Allen again? And Chris Davis.
I won't grunt at you, but good evening.
Good evening. All right.
Certainly really want to be like promoting Tim Allen because he's.
Am I promoting Tim Allen over here? Am I promoting him? I didn't know I was promoting him.
He's just doing an impression. I don't think that constitutes promotion. Anyways, welcome everybody to the show. We're here to talk about video games. And it's been a kind of a crazy week.
Also, in terms what did Tim Allen do? I don't like Tim Allen news.
Oh, you don't want to know what he's done.
I'm pretty sure he's just
podcast material.
He went full Bill Cosby.
No, I don't think he went that far.
Nothing that bad.
Nothing that bad, but I'm pretty sure he. Also, I don't want to I don't know the facts, so I don't want to
Let's just get into it.
Let's not get into it.
If nothing else, he's a narc.
Trafficking cocaine. We don't care about that. I remember that, from back in the day.
I will not let Tim Allen derail this podcast.
It's not that he was trafficking cocaine; is that he got caught and then flipped on everybody he was working with. He's a fucking narc.
Bitch.
He's a fucking narc.
What a bitch.
Gonzo Lude says he's been Tim Allen pulled a plucky squire.
Yeah.
Oh, he's racist. Tim Allen.
I'm so sorry. I don't know why we've honed in on the plucky squire.
I mean, Buzz. No, sorry. Buzz. Oh my God.
All right. Anyways, guys, big week for games. We have a lot to talk. We're starting to get really we're into the weeds now in terms of releases. We have 3 new releases to talk about tonight. Starfield reviews dropped today, and studios are closing left and right. It's a crazy fucking week. So with that in mind, I want to say, one, we didn't record a regular show last week. We recorded a top 3. I know we haven't done one of those in a while, but go check it out. We did our top 3 most desired indie spiritual successors, kind of inspired by the recent release of Bomb Rush Cyberpunk,
we talked about that. We forgot to mention Bomb Rush Cyberpunk also had reviews drop. We did that in the Fantasy Critic.
Yeah, which I was trying not to bring it up on the top 5 because the whole topic was inspired by successful indie spiritual successors, and that was hovering around a 71. So it seems kind of at first glance it seems kind of is it kind of mid? I don't know, but that's not the point.
I mean,
The point is Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, for people who are big fans of Jet Set Radio, who haven't had that kind of experience in a long time, are kind of oh my God, this feels very Jet Set Radio, and it's
at a 74 now. It still doesn't have a ton of reviews, and 83% recommends. I saw a lot of unscored reviews that seemed really positive, so I guess I'm a little surprised. But I mean, 74 for a game like this is not unsurprising, honestly. I don't think that means people are unhappy with it. I think people have been quite happy with it, actually.
Also, I do want to stress, because I see this, guys, we've been having a great time with Fantasy Critic all year. I see this conversation happen at least once a week, where people come into specifically come into our Fantasy Critic channel and Discord, and are they're upset about the super hyper focused review score conversations, right? And I just want to remind everybody at home, everybody in our Discord, especially when they're watching us in that channel specifically, having these kind of faux arguments and being really petty about review scores and whatnot. I want y'all to remember, you need to take everything we say in that channel specifically with a grain of salt, because Fantasy Critic It's all about the fucking points. No one here, especially the people on this podcast, points aren't everything. Obviously, we're going to talk about, like, one of my favorite games of the year is the 74. Like, who the fuck cares? We're here to talk about the games. We're here to play the games, talk about them, which we're going to do one way or the other, whether it scores in the 90s or it scores in the 70s or whatever. Unless it's Redfall, in which case we all jumped ship on that one pretty unanimously.
Not all of us.
I might have to play it at some point.
To stream it if they're last.
I might have to stream that. But anyways, friendly reminder that we're just having fun. And if you want to talk about games where review scores aren't really the main focus of the conversation, go into our gaming channel. That's where those conversations, if you want to have good conversations about Starfield next week when we're all playing it, I do it in the gaming channel, because all we're going to be talking about is the stupid review scores in the Fantasy Critic channel. But anyways, with that said, Fantasy Critic, quick update. A lot has happened since last week. Sea of Stars, which we're going to talk about a little bit tonight. Chris Davis has started it. It came out sitting at an 89 right now.
At one point, it hit 95.
At one point, when it had like 5 reviews. Chris
Davis. When it had like 5 top critic reviews.
You gotta pump the brakes a little bit.
I'm just saying what happened.
No, you're right. It was at a 90. It was at a 95. But nobody expected it to really stay there. But that doesn't mean that we think it's not deserving of it. Whatever. We'll talk about that. Congratulations. That's a great score. And Starfield dropped today. I think we were all excited. We're about Starfield reviews. In kind of a different way than we're excited
about Starfield reviews.
I mean, there's been this kind of like everybody has been kind of like waiting, like holding their breath. Like, is Starfield going to be?
I guess it's an exciting moment to find out if it's like trash or not. But I don't think I think everyone ultimately was probably expecting it to end up in the high 80s, right?
Yeah, which is where it
deep down, I mean, obviously I wanted it to be higher for Fantasy Critic reasons, but I mean, any educated guess was probably going to hover around this, right?
Right.
There was always that potential, but for higher, because Bethesda Game Studios has been there, and there's only some devs that have ever like consistently get up there, right? Your Rockstars, Nintendos and stuff. It doesn't happen very often, like consistently. But Bethesda did kind of used to be up there. And it's been a long fucking time since they put out one of their RPGs, but I think I watched I watched a couple reviews, and it sounds like it's just another Bethesda Game Studios RPG.
I mean, here's the thing. I guess we could talk.
I don't think people love those anymore.
I guess we could talk about Starfield reviews here, because I did specifically want to have a conversation that's purely focused on like what is our initial reaction to the Starfield reviews, which are out now. Like I said, it's hovering around at 88 right now. That could still fluctuate a little bit here and there. But there was a lot.
It's the most boring review score. That's my take.
I mean, here's the thing. Factually speaking, I mean, when you really think about it, not just Starfield, like when you talk about review scores, the only review scores that truly matter are ones that are really high or really low, because most like 80% of the shit out there is going to end up somewhere in the, as Brett, as you just put it, the boring range, right? The predictable range. Like if it's a good solid ass video game, it's going to end up somewhere in the mid 80s, right? I mean, mid to high 80s. That's kind of like the sweet spot, right?
I don't mean like the final like score is boring. I mean, for like any game, I'm saying it's boring for this game specifically, because I feel like we either wanted this to be like, oh, it did, it did what No Man's Sky couldn't do, or I don't know, right? We wanted it to like, I wanted to see it really like blow all the naysayers out of the water, or actually be like a fucking train wreck, just for the
entertainment purposes,
the chaos of Starfield review day. And it was the least exciting of all of those, right? It was just, well, it ended up around where Fallout 4 did, and it's kind of bunk for the same reason that every Bethesda Game Studios game is. And it's kind of interesting, I guess, for the same reasons.
You say that, Brad, but I've been seeing a lot of people, a lot of the reviews that I've said, like the one thing that kind of stands out, there's 2 things to me that kind of stand out about, and this is, albeit only the reviews that I've read, I haven't read all of them, but I've seen a lot of people saying that it's remarkably, I don't want to jump on the like it's bug free train, because it's not bug free obviously, but like for a Bethesda game, it's notably solid. performance-wise on all platforms.
There's a level of polish that is not normally there for a Bethesda game.
Yeah, which
but
I don't feel like they've been able to say that.
Microsoft, and there was so like they gave this game a lot more time than I think Bethesda normally would have given one of these games because Xbox really needed this to be a win, really,
which
badly.
it is. And the other thing I've noticed, albeit grain of salt, a lot of times when you see a Bethesda game come out, I see a lot of talk about how, well, the gameplay is really fun and it's really buggy. And you know, sometimes that's a good thing. Some people really like crazy bugs and whatnot. But like ultimately, a lot of people are like, well, but the story sucks balls. I haven't seen a lot of people. No, I'm saying I haven't seen a lot of people when it comes to Starfield saying anything one way or the other about the story being really good or really bad. Which honestly is as someone who really enjoys stories, and I'm actually really excited to play Starfield. The last thing I wanted to read was the story is boring as fuck, and I haven't seen that yet.
The only thing I've seen I don't think that's normal very interesting choices.
I think
maybe boring as fuck isn't the right way to say. I've seen a lot of people talk about like with Fallout and stuff about like how the story eventually falls apart or doesn't deliver, and I've heard kind of the opposite here, where it starts out kind of slow and it builds momentum and it ends up paying off.
What I heard is that it takes a long time to get going, but once you do get into some of those more interesting side quest lines and companion stuff, that it starts to like get a lot better. But I feel like that is pretty normal. I feel like what's normal for a Bethesda Game Studios game is that like the main quest line is never like
the focus.
It's never the memorable stuff. It's never the stuff that people I feel like truly care about. It is in a lot of the side stuff that you stumble into. And so I'm glad that stuff here
I always I mean, and this is just me, like with almost any game, honestly, but sometimes with like these bigger, higher stake games like Starfield, I worry that the first thing I'm going to see on these reviews is people just not gelling with the story. And I'm just saying, in this case, I haven't seen anybody say that, which is nice. Like and for that reason, and for the fact that it's remarkably stable for a Bethesda game.
What have they been saying about
the
combat? I think because I'm trying to remember.
That's where it's been kind of. It seems like it's been kind of split. You know, we did kind of say before this came out that Starfield was going to be very divisive, and there's probably going to be a lot of like 5s and 6s, but there's also going to be lots of 9s and 10s. You know what I mean? And it wasn't quite to that level. I've seen a lot of 7s, but then also a lot of 8s, 9s, and 10s. You know, like I haven't seen a lot of stuff falling kind of outside of that range. Which is nice, but you know, as far as combat goes,
when I drafted this, it was always because I knew that no matter what, it was probably still going to end up in the high 80s because I looked at like Cyberpunk. I feel like it was too big
to
fail. So like truly fail. I think for it to get like a truly disastrous score, it had to be a true disaster. If it was just another buggy Bethesda Studios game, there's no way it was going to score better.
And you know, if nothing else, I think Redfall kind of reminded us that big, highly anticipated games can come out and fail. I know the stakes weren't as high with Redfall as they are with like Starfield. Maybe Starfield has higher stakes because of Redfall's failure.
I feel like I'm the only person in the world that was excited about Redfall. Who was excited about that?
I mean, I was excited about it.
Everybody was
Xbox exclusive. It was Arcane.
Everybody was ready for that game to be shit.
No.
I feel like everybody's
people
ready
were sad
that
it wasn't like an immersive sim, and that it was like some Borderlands wannabe. People were upset about that, but I don't think anybody expected that Arcane would like make a fucking tragedy. I think they just expected them to make a kind of game they didn't want to play. But apparently, no one wanted to play Redfall, not even the Borderlands people.
So. I drafted Redfall kind of knowing what it was being pitched as, because I was like, if a game was going to get me kind of interested in this genre of game, Redfall seemed like a perfect one for me to kind of do it, because it has kind of like the horror elements and the vampires and shit. Like I like that.
Player anyways, you butt.
I mean, probably, but like the little bit of Destiny I played solo for the you know, it's just
But like, I played all the dev out there that you can probably trust. It up until May 2023, it was Arcane.
But like also Arcane Austin.
CD Projekt Red?
Right. Everybody needs to be reminded every once in a while that like these studios are capable of fucking shit up. But like I played all the way through Borderlands 1 by myself. Never played co-op.
Yeah.
Back in the day, and that was my game of the year that year. Although sometimes I think
That's
back and
crazy.
I regret that decision a little bit.
That's not a nitpick.
Maybe that's more of a statement about that year in general. I don't know.
What else came out that year?
I think that was Dead Space year. No, that was 2008. I lied. Sorry. I don't remember what all came out that year.
When did Borderlands come?
Are you talking about Mass Effect in 2007?
I'm right now.
Sorry,
I'm talking about. What year did Borderlands? The first Borderlands, was it 2009?
2009.
2009.
Oh my God! Uncharted 2, Dragon Age. What the hell? You picked Borderlands?
Wait, I put fucking Borderlands over Uncharted 2. What the fuck was I smoking? Okay, sorry. See, that's what I'm talking about. Whatever. We're going down a rabbit hole. The point is, I don't know. We don't need linger. We're going to talk about. We're obviously going to talk about. Fuck! Shut the fuck up!
Assassin's Creed 2. There's no way you ranked Borderlands over Assassin's Creed 2.
I did, dude. I gave that my game of the year. I don't know why.
Faction Guerrilla, Infamous.
I met Nick. I met Nick in 2010, and he was kind of a dipshit then. So
what were you smoking? Shadow.
Oh my god!
Yeah, Shadow Complex. I was gonna say.
Yeah, if Crispy had seen my top 10 games of 2009, he probably would have said no when I asked him to be on the podcast. Like, no, that's a hard pass.
The Saboteur, you love the Saboteur.
The Saboteur,
you
I'm sure
shut
was
up
on that
about
list.
the Saboteur for years.
That's a great game. I love that game. Although that game doesn't really. It's
Bayonetta.
Fuck! What are we even talking about anymore?
What's wrong with you?
Starfield. We're gonna obviously talk about Starfield once we get our hands on it. We're not here to talk about Starfield, so let's just kind of
on the fence about whether I want to play Starfield. If I'm being real here.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan. I like swords and pointy ears. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, come on. I mean, like since this game came out, you've been championing its cause, like, and you're just gonna not.
I've been championing. I've been Team Bethesda. Hey, they could still make a good game. Stop hating on them for Fallout 76. But at the end of the day,
none of that was driven by genuine excitement for the game, though.
Butthole.
Butthole. You're fucking butthole. Fuck you.
It's not because I don't think I could like a game like Starfield. It is 100% to do with the fact that I'm still in Act 1 of Baldur's Gate 3. I still haven't finished Zelda. Like truly amazing games I'm playing over here.
Right. Not 88.
Let me tell you.
Not 88.
Come
on, I only played 96s.
Starfield's basically Final Fantasy 16 and Diablo 4.
And I sent that shit back to GameFly.
Let me tell you guys. I finished I finished Tears of the Kingdom in the past week, and a weight has been lifted, but it was also an amazing fucking game. So it feels good. You should.
It's just a shame that you're gonna rank it below Star Wars, but that's okay. That's besides the point. What else we got?
Oh, I don't know, Brad. We'll fucking see. You're probably right though. Okay. All right. Fucking. Where were we? Okay. Sorry. Bringing it back into Fantasy Critic for a second. We had some pickups last week.
Did we?
Yeah. They're both mine, okay? I just
you made some choices.
What'd you do? What'd you do, Nicholas?
I made some choices last week.
9?
You know what? Let's not Chris Davis. Spare him the details. Spare him the details. Let him live his dream.
What did you do, Nick?
So Sonic Superstars and SteamWorld Build were both mine last week. And you know what? I bid a lot of money on SteamWorld Build because I was almost positive Nolan was going to go for that. And he didn't.
Nolan has $20 on it, and he chose not to go for it.
Oh, he played it?
Yeah, he played a demo.
Nolan is well. He might not have caught the news that it got a release date because it didn't have one.
Yeah,
but I think Nolan's playing it very carefully.
I mean, he
suddenly has a bunch of slots now.
If I'm being totally honest, I'm also just kind of like not really worried about it too much anymore because I know I'm not going to win. So I'm making I'm making decisions, but I'm not like whatever. It's whatever. I'm gonna do what I can because like the options are
thoughtful picks.
I mean, no, I put a lot of thought into them. In fact, I wavered on them both for a long time. But I did look at I was looking at reviews of like the past few SteamWorld games, and they've all been pretty good. So I figured that was a pretty safe bet. And Sonic
That's not the one
Superstars,
I'm so worried about.
Sonic Superstars, I was kind of like feeding off of other people's excitement because I've never been a big Sonic fan, and I've been hearing a lot of people talk about they're excited for Superstars.
Never bet on Sonic.
Those are Sonic fans, Nick. You can't trust them.
I know you can't trust them.
Can't.
But I was also looking specifically at like Sonic Mania, which scored very well. And I know what you're gonna say,
Chris
Brad.
Davis, let him.
What was I gonna say?
Let him.
What was I gonna say?
Let him dream.
Use your words.
No, I know. I made a terrible mistake, but you know what? I kind of don't care anymore.
In your thoughtful research about Sonic Superstars,
no.
Chris Davis,
did
I
you
told
know
you not
that
spare
the
him the
team
details.
Is not
he can't.
The Sonic Mania devs.
Yes, I know that. I don't make these decisions without doing research. I just want you to know. I know it's not the Sonic Mania devs. I'm talking about looking at the game and getting the vibe off of it. And it looks like it's, classic 2D Sonic. I hear Sonic fans talking about it, and they're like, this looks pretty good. And I'm talking about people who were like not super sold on like Sonic Frontiers and shit. I know. It's a huge gamble.
Nick,
it's probably not going to pay off for me.
Nick, I got a proposition for you. All right?
This is a trade? You're going to make a trade offer right now?
Yeah. My trade offer is you give me your two highest scoring games, which are Final Fantasy 16 and Gravity Circuit. And when I win, I'll pay your buy-in back to you.
No one's collected any money, so.
So you really just want that to get the?
I'll just be impressed at the end of the year if whoever wins actually gets paid.
All I'm saying is I could drop a game that I'm not too sure about, and I have another slot I need to fill. And if I could just guarantee that those two slots are 18 points, I might be okay. Might be doing okay once Space Marine and Forza and Super Mario Brothers Wonder come out, because those games look good.
They do. They do, in fact, look good. Hey, you know what? We don't have to wait very long to find out if my Sonic Superstars thing pays off, because that's coming out smack dab in the middle of October as well. So we'll see what happens.
You are 100% the demographic Sega executives want you to be.
Stop talking about me like I'm a demographic. I don't fucking care about Sonic. I'm not going to play Sonic. I'm not going to give them money for Sonic. Don't look at me. Don't tell me I'm the demographic they're targeting. I'm the opposite.
Just the other day you were playing Gravity Circuit. Now you're saying fuck Sonic.
Yeah, Nick. Wow.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Yeah.
But just Chris Davis is confused. All right, me picking Sonic Superstars was more of a. Let's be honest. It's more of an act of desperation. It was a choice. It was an act of desperation. It's a huge gamble. I have no expectations that it's actually going to pay off for me, but it could, on the off chance that it's like kind of taps into that same magic of Sonic Mania. Maybe it will. Maybe.
How do you do in Vegas, Nick? I feel like I've
never been to Vegas in my life. I have never been to Vegas in my life. I have never actually gambled on anything in my life, so I don't fucking know the answer to that question.
I've played no, Nick. I've played poker with you with money on the table.
That's right. Okay, that is true. That is true. And
but
here's no, dude. Here's the thing. Here's the thing you need to understand. I have played poker like 3 times in my life. I have to be taught how to play poker every time I sit down to play poker. That should tell you everything you need to know about how I performed at poker, right? I don't know how to play poker. If you ask me right now how to play poker, I wouldn't fucking be able to tell you. I don't know how to do it.
God, go watch Rounders or something. What the fuck?
I think that's
like
such a weird thing to admit to.
Why?
You feel like it's a prerequisite for being an American.
Chris Davis popped into the TV Music Arts channel earlier and said, "Man, you know what? I wish I liked music."
I said I wish I was invested in music. That's different.
Yeah. That's the same thing.
That's a difference.
No, I'm with him too. I don't like music.
Yeah. I mean, keeping up with good music takes work.
Yeah.
Unless you're just gonna listen to the fucking.
I had no idea you were such a Swiftie, Nick.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's been building over years.
I feel like there's a little bit of like a come out of the closet situation.
Well, she
is talk about how hard she's worked.
She has, man. Are you fucking serious? It's crazy.
I knew that. I could not name a single. There are 2 things I know about Taylor Swift: the Kanye thing, where Beyonce should have gotten the award, and there was the meme where the song would cut to like Nicolas Cage or the
Yeah,
Goats.
the goats. Yeah,
That's the only thing that, and I heard some people saying she's got a long back or something like that.
What?
Which I think
What?
that means she has no ass or something like that. I don't know. It was
I
like some weird
disagree,
like
but that's that's neither here
misogynistic.
nor there. Um,
Um,
yeah, I mean,
that's literally you could, if you offered me $1 million
congratulations.
to name one of her songs, I couldn't do it.
But
So
like, what do you
I'm
want me to? Do
surprised
you
to
want an
know you.
award for that or something?
No, I'm
Like, I
just
feel like
saying
that's what
like
everybody who like either you like really like Taylor Swift or you're like one of those people who's like I couldn't name a song
no.
if I tried.
I didn't really get to my point. What I'm saying is like I'm surprised there is a fandom. Me having no idea anything about this woman, that she has a fandom that has named themselves.
Okay, first of all, that's not
Is that
uncommon.
is that not common?
No,
I mean, is that not?
I mean, there's like
I
lots of
don't know any
fandoms
other
out there that
artists who
have
have like named fandoms.
Oh,
Slipknot
really?
fans have names.
What are they called?
Juggalos?
Maggots.
Okay,
Juggalos. That's
I've
another
heard
one.
of the Juggalos. I've heard of Juggalos. Okay, I've heard
Slipknot
of
has
Juggalos.
maggots.
Parrot
What I'm
heads?
saying is like I'm guessing she's a big deal.
Yes, dude, she's a fucking huge. I mean, as far
Then I'm surprised
we're
I
not
don't know more about her.
she this is not a Taylor Swift podcast, and I'm not going to be the only like.
Have you ever
I will
guessed
not
it
be
on a Taylor Swift
interrogated.
podcast?
Yeah,
I have
right?
not guessed it on a Taylor Swift podcast, but you know, I wouldn't.
Just
I
a
would. I
matter
would.
of time.
I'd say I would reject an invitation to be on a Taylor Swift podcast if somebody were to ask me. But you know,
The Beyonce has
that's
the
never happened.
Bayhive. See, but
Oh
I've never
yeah.
heard that. I've never heard of that.
Well, I mean, that's just because you're not paying super close attention.
But it's in 2023. How do you pay attention unless you're like just listening to the radio, which is insane to me.
Let me tell you, I don't
that?
listen. I haven't listened to the radio, period, in probably well over a decade. I still have a fucking iPod. I put all my music on an iPod.
So how does someone find out about Taylor Swift?
I mean, probably things like Spotify
I thought. See, I had a conversation with
social media.
About this. I thought she was a country music singer. So
she started in country music. Yeah,
she started there.
So when you said you were into Taylor Swift, I was like, Nick listens to country music.
I mean, I have like a handful of country albums.
Really?
I will tell you this. I will tell you this. My iPod has more Taylor Swift than any other singular artist on my iPod.
You guys should listen to KUTX sometime. That's a pretty good radio station.
It's a good radio station.
Music?
Noted.
No, it's the college radio station.
Yeah.
I will say this. I will say like the whole comment about her being really hard
country in my indie listening, you know, maybe
I do think there is something very impressive about, because Crispy's joking about like the hardworking thing, but like if you've ever heard like the drama of this shit, it's crazy. We're just officially talking about Taylor Swift here. I don't want to. You derailed this shit. What are we talking about? I'm not going into this.
She works so hard. Can we talk about the fact that 2 of my games have had extended looks released over the last week, and they both look amazing?
Pretty sick.
Oh, I watched the Mario one.
They look really cool.
I was surprised. I thought the Mario thing was later because I logged into Discord and I looked at
only like a little 15-minute.
I thought for sure that people would be talking about Mario doing numbers, but everyone was just talking about Starfield. So I thought
it aired in the middle of the Starfield. Crazy, like it like aired within an hour or so of Starfield reviews dropping or something.
So I did watch that, and it looks
sick.
Good.
They've got like fucking Dark Souls mechanics now. You can like summon people. You can help people online. You can turn into an elephant. Dude, if you play as a Yoshi, other players can just ride you. Like that's so fucking sick.
It's crazy. Oh fuck! It still has like. It still kind of has that new Super Mario Bros. Energy, which is gonna hurt it a little bit because, you know, those games reviewed well, but not like incredibly well, right? By the time they were done with that series, they were getting like pretty middling scores. I feel like, you know, there's a new Super Mario Bros. 2 is like in the 70s, but this has enough new stuff going on, plus that's like genuinely fun and interesting. Plus the fact that I think people are really high on Mario right now because of just, you know, good Nintendo vibes. The Switch, the movie was really huge, right? everyone's into their Switch, everyone's into Mario, like the vibes, unlike like Starfield or whatever,
Super Mario,
like Baldur's
Super
Gate, like I
Nintendo
feel like the
fans.
vibes going into this thing are going to be really good, even though it is just another 2D Mario.
We're
So I think it's
living.
probably going to end up somewhere around the low 90s, which is, Crispy remains a threat. I don't like that he got Mario. This is unfortunate, but we'll see. We'll see.
Just a quick aside, I watched the Mario Brothers movie this past weekend. Not bad. Like not
Not
great, but like
good.
not. I mean, it's like completely inoffensive. It was a nice tight 90 minutes, and it was fun.
It's a really tight 90 minutes. Like the pacing is a little wild.
But I also don't know if I would want that movie to go on longer than 90 minutes. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know if I want that movie to not be better, because I think it could have been better. It could have
totally
been, could have had jokes. It could have had character development, but it didn't.
Hey, I had plenty of laughs.
It could have been like, it could have been one of those kids movies that's like better than it had any right to be, instead of just being a kids movie. But
that's
whatever.
There's a lot of those these days. Fucking, it's not like Pixar. Obviously, DreamWorks puts out some bangers every now and then. Like
Pixar's
and there's like other like animated kids movies are oftentimes like some of the best movies of the year every year these days.
It's Encanto,
Encanto's pretty good.
Like that Puss in Boots movie. Like what the fuck? Like
everybody's talking about the new Puss in Boots movie.
It's amazing. It's great. Yeah. The Mario movie is very like. I would not want to watch that again.
I did watch the Mario movie with Joel and Marissa, and they let their son watch it with their parents, so the child's grandparents, and they hadn't seen it yet, and we watched it, and there were several points where they were like, "Oh my god, should we have let our child watch this? This is like there's that one character there's the one character who's like super emo and talking about death, and that was kind of like." There were just a few points that were like,
if their kids seen Encanto, and I mean, like, look, every fucking kids movie is about death these days. My God, Puss in Boots, Jesus Christ, is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking about Mario?
I'm talking about Mario. Kids for
Puss in Boots will fuck a kid up. My
dark
God.
new future.
Maybe I should watch this Puss in Boots movie.
It'll fuck.
I don't know. I think people are lying about Puss in Boots.
I saw it in the theater with Henry, and it fucked him up. It's literally.
I don't think that's what people are lying about, though.
Yeah. Okay,
and
but to be fair,
is a character hunting down Puss.
You were telling us a story about how he was having nightmares about rectangles, so like I don't know what the criteria on what's gonna fuck him up is. Like
you heard him, like Nick, he was saying that death is coming for that puss.
Yeah, like to fucking like take his final life. He's following him because he's on his last life, right? And he's like a super scary wolf with like red eyes and a fucking scythe. And he's just like his voice, like it's fucking, he's scary, man. It's terrifying.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's rein it back in because I echo Gamerbeck's question he asked in chat. He says, "Is this the podcast?" We've lost the thread a little bit.
A little bit.
So
also, well, hang on. We talked about Mario. That looks great. Looks wonderful. Gonna do good. They also put out extended gameplay looks for Space Marine 2. And it looks sick as hell. And they confirmed that it's coming out this winter.
Okay, so real quick, Crispy.
Confirm. Winter.
When publishers say winter, it really means December through February.
Yeah, this smells like February, dude. It smells so much like February.
It still says 2023 on the website.
That is true.
Still says 2023. So, okay. All right, fine. All right, fine. Maybe it's still in flux. But they're still indicating that they're aiming for a 2023 release.
Yeah.
You guys can hope and pray that it gets pushed all you want.
I want it to come out because...
But it's still still looming.
That 79 will also hurt Nolan.
It's not 79. That's ridiculous. You're not looking at the fucking footage. You're a fucking asshole. You're a fucking troll.
What are you talking
and I'm not listening to you anymore.
79 is not a bad score.
I'm listening to you anymore, Brad. I've had enough of it. I'm done. I'm not listening to Brad.
That is literally every single Warhammer game on the planet.
I'll hear no more of it.
What are you talking about?
That is not
just like how Armored Core was going to do Armored Core numbers, like you said.
I'm pumping.
10,000 words on Armored Core, and you latched onto one thing, which, if I even said it, was probably just me being a smartass.
You said it
I
multiple
went into
times,
extensive
and then acted like I
mathematical
was the
breakdowns.
crazy one.
Guys,
Fucking wiener. I only talked to you crazy because you said 90 plus all day. Sekiro, bitch, the world is ready. You motherfucker, stop changing history.
The world was ready, and it did well.
Okay.
It did good.
Please,
It's fine.
for the love of Jesus. It did good.
Fuck you.
It did good, Crispy. It did good. Everybody shut the fuck up. Okay. Whew, man.
It did on the high end of realistic expectations.
Shut the fuck up, Brad. We're moving on. Let's get out of Fantasy Critic. Move on a little bit. There's been some undesirable news this week. Also, real quick. Sorry, real quick. I forgot to mention that Nine Souls got delayed. Very quietly got delayed, so I had to drop that. So that super fucking sucks.
I forgot
no
one
even knew what that was.
Dude, Nine Souls looks and plays fantastically. I'm super excited for Nine Souls. Anyways, we had 2 left field studio closures over the past 2 days or 3 days. I don't know. First of all,
really,
Mimimi, the studio behind the recently released Shadow Gambit, Desperados 3, Shadow Tactics. Great studio.
Such a bad time to release their game, but they probably had no choice.
They decided to close this. See, the way they're, obviously grain of salt. Their statement they released talked more about the toll that being such a small team trying to.
They also mentioned
make
financial pressures.
Yeah, which they independently
if
published
the game,
Shadow Gambit.
If the game did crazy numbers, I don't think they would have made this choice.
I mean, if they did crazy numbers, they probably would have grown instead of, shut down.
I think what happened is they couldn't wait on the game anymore. They needed to ship it because they needed to pay their fucking bills, and it didn't do the numbers they needed to keep going realistically. So they shut down. I mean, it sucks. Indie game development's hard, and putting out a game right now, this year, this time of the year is.
It probably was a really bad idea to release it when they did, but also their hands might have been tied just because. Yeah, they probably had no choice. So it sucks. Again, Desperados 3 is one of
very well received.
One of my favorite games of that year.
I love that studio.
I picked up Shadow Gambit, and I have every intention of playing it this year. So it really sucks. There's not really much more I can say about this other than thoughts are with everybody who lost their job, and hopefully the people who are going to stay in the industry find new jobs. And yeah, what else can you say about it? It super sucks.
Honestly, so some of the nicest people I've ever met with going to an event, when I got to play Desperados 3 in a demo session at E3 2018 or something like that for an hour with just the creative director and one of the artists with me to answer questions.
Man,
they were some of the nicest folks.
They put a cowboy hat on your head.
No, I'm dead serious. They were some of the nicest people I've ever talked to. It was delightful.
I believe you. You know what's funny? You described that very private, very long demo session where you get to talk close one-on-one with developers. You know what? The first game that comes to mind is for me that had that kind of experience at E3. I think Crispy can attest. I think you were there for this, Crispy, right? I feel like that's very reminiscent of our demo we had for Fortnite. It was like us in a tiny room playing for an hour.
Nobody fucking cared about Fortnite.
Yeah, we played Fortnite.
We walked in on the last day and we're like, "Can we look at the game?" And they're like, "Yeah, we don't have any appointments."
We were just hanging out with devs for Fortnite, talking about it, and then that was before it was
who
what it is now.
That shit you were playing was not anything anybody cares about.
Yeah, I loved it though. That was
honestly, the original game was hell interesting.
It
could have been something.
Great concept.
It is funny. The only thing I remember from talking to you about at E3 about that was that you kept recalling this moment where you were trying to put some shit together, and then you turn around and the dev had already thrown up an entire castle, and you were impressed by the speed of that. And then you think of years later when people play Fortnite, it's all about them throwing up castles in seconds or whatever. And it's just funny that was your first core memory of your Fortnite experience.
There it was.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even a battle royale game yet.
It wasn't. That's wild.
Oh, speaking of amazing E3 moments with devs, I once played Dragon Age Origins and became a Grey Warden,
You
and
did.
that was exciting. Speaking of BioWare, they laid off like a quarter of
50
their
people.
studio or something. Like,
Yeah.
what the
I
fuck?
don't know. I do not know what to fucking make of BioWare these days. Like, what is
What do
going
you
What is
on
mean?
over
happening?
there?
They're
You're
fucking
making the
dying.
assumption that it
They're
was a
dying.
BioWare decision.
Well, no. I know. It was
Of course
probably more
not.
of an
It's not
EA
Bio-
decision.
Yeah,
But the point is, like, they literally are
they
sitting
probably
on.
canceled some project they were working on.
They're sitting on two of the most popular, successful like RPG franchises, and it's just
Okay,
kind of like
popular is maybe not the word to use.
well, at one point they were popular, right? Like Mass Effect
Sorta.
specifically. Dragon Age has always been a little bit more niche in terms of popularity, right? But
No,
like,
that's not true either. Like they both, I think, did similar numbers, but and neither of those franchises did like the kind of numbers that make studios and publishers super happy,
but like
right?
Mass Effect is like a cultural, like if we're talking about video game
The
culture,
fandom
right?
is
It's like
really the fandom is really out there, but like it's not, it's the kind of thing where it's easy to like Metal Gear Solid, for example, right? The fandom is so passionate, you would think it's like a 10 million, 50 million, 20 million seller, but like it was never even close to that. None of the games were ever even close to that. It's just it feels very important to people who really care about games. And I feel like Mass Effect and Dragon Age were that, but I don't think they've ever done like and that was even then that was a long time ago. It's sort of like the Dead Space thing, right? You think a lot about Dead Space, but Dead Space never did the numbers that EA was truly happy about, and that's why it went away for a long time.
no, I know, I get
Um,
it.
and
But
that shit that
my point is that like, and maybe this is because they're being spread too thin. Like I feel like if they had just picked one, like Mass Effect or Dragon Age, and kind of focused all of their efforts on that, they could have, they could have pulled something really magical off, and it would have been amazing. Like, you know, I think Starfield, if anything, has kind of shown that there's a hunger for like this genre of game, and people like RPGs set in space, and Mass Effect is kind of one of like the tent poles of that genre. I feel like it seems like kind of a no brainer. Like if you just focus on like what made Mass Effect great, I'm not gonna sit here and say it shouldn't be that hard to make a good Mass Effect game, but like they are fucking just on the struggle bus, and they've been on the struggle bus for so many years, even with bringing back Casey Hudson and all this stuff. Like, look, what is happening? Like, what is the state of BioWare, and why is it so hard? Why does it seem so difficult to capture the magic of that franchise again? That's a rhetorical question. It's a big one that I'm sure we'll be able to address.
their best selling game is Mass Effect 3
Not
at
not
around
surprising. It's
7 million copies.
like worldwide to date. That seems kind of low, but
And number 2 is Dragon Age Inquisition at 6 million.
yeah.
And then it drops down to like 5 million. Like it's not the kind of, and these are a long time ago, man.
I
They've
know,
had
I know, I
Anthem
know.
since then. It's my guess is they canceled some project and that's why people got laid off.
Probably.
Hopefully
Maybe it
Dragon
was.
Age is good, but like I feel like if they really wanted to focus on making a series good, it probably should be Dragon Age, because I think that fantasy is the safer bet when it comes to mainstream. And I think that's why like Baldur's Gate did really well. And I think that's why Elder Scrolls is probably going to do better than Starfield. I feel like when it comes to nerd culture, fantasy is the moneymaker more than sci-fi. And
But like, Lord knows we don't want everything to be a fucking fantasy RPG. Then you don't have, you want that breadth of experiences, and like, you know what I mean? Like, I get what you're
they
saying.
tried to make something different and
You're
it was
pro-
called Anthem.
you're probably right, and it sucks that like this. They feel like they have to course correct by going back to this thing. But I don't know. That's a much bigger
I hope
discussion we
Dragon
need to
Age is
have
good
here.
because Mass Effect got bad and Dragon Age never truly got bad. So I feel like I think this is their Starfield moment. Dragon Age Inquisition 2 or Dragon Age 4, which is Inquisition
Dreadwolf. It's
2.
called Dragon Age Dreadwolf. I think
It's
it's what it's
called
called.
Dreadwolf. It's going to be such a weird thing that it's a direct follow-up to Inquisition, but it needs to be like kind of special. Otherwise, BioWare is probably not long for this world.
All right. Speaking of not long for this world, one more studio closure that happened very suddenly today.
I don't know who this is.
Effective
Oh,
immediately,
Volition.
Volition. Embracer Group shut down Volition.
I saw this coming.
The studio behind Saints Row. And this is probably, I would imagine, has a lot to do with the kind of failure of the most recent Saints Row reboot, which I don't think managed to grasp even like a fraction of the success of the franchise that came before it.
The timing
sad,
is
man.
a little like suspect, though.
Oh, it's not suspect at all. They knew 100% what they were doing.
No. What I'm saying is like the day before was when the price of PlayStation Plus went up, right? And everyone on social media said the same thing. You're gonna raise the price when the big game next month is that new Saints Row. What the fuck? And the publisher probably saw that and like, man, everybody
Shut 'em
hates
down.
Saints Row now.
Shut them down.
Shut them down. There ain't no coming back from this. They're making fun of them.
No, I mean it is truly sad.
That's
Volition,
true. What Sonji said in chat, man. Go woke, go broke.
And
This is what happens.
Like a few months back, for my 4-player minute, I did a rundown of the Embracer pending potential closures. I just talked about 20 or so studios, and I would not have bet Volition was going to go under. I would not have bet that Gearbox would be affected like it is, because that's another announcement that happened today.
There were layoffs at Gearbox, but not nearly. I mean, obviously,
in my opinion, nothing is safe now, unless it is an announced project that is coming out in the next 6 months. I think you're in danger.
You're not. You're not wrong. I mean, this definitely.
I feel like those weren't studios that like people had a lot of trust in, so to do anything amazing. So I'm not surprised that that's where the layoffs were, but
you know, the scary thing is that there's been a lot of talk about potential shutdowns or closures, layoffs and whatnot coming from the top down on from Embracer Group, and there's a lot of projects that are very much there's some that are confirmed, some that are very theoretical that I think we all would like to see come to fruition. Things like the next Tomb Raider. The thought that the next Tomb Raider might not be safe from being canceled is, before we even know anything about it, is kind of
I thought
scary.
Amazon was making the next Tomb Raider or some shit, something weird. Like
is Amazon publishing?
Epic? Is it Epic?
No, I think you're right. I think you're right the first time with Amazon.
No, it's Amazon.
But Embracer owns Crystal Dynamics now, don't they?
Yes.
And they own the Tomb Raider IP.
Is Crystal Dynamics making that?
Yes.
Yeah. They are actively developing the next Tomb Raider
What are they
game.
making? I hope it's something interesting.
Yeah, we all do. And that's the whole point. Like, even though Amazon is publishing the new Tomb Raider, if I'm wrong, I apologize. That doesn't change the fact that Embracer owns the studio and owns the IP. If I'm correct, Chris Davis, he's nodding. If they own it, they can cancel it. I'm pretty sure that can just happen. You know what I mean?
Too valuable though. You squeeze that out, and you're gonna do a few million no matter what they put out. I mean,
you're right. I don't think Tomb Raider has like the same kind of like effect. Like you hear Tomb Raider, you don't think it's like on the same level as like Saints Row maybe.
Yeah,
but also Volition
like movies and stuff.
Volition also did Red Faction, right?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, Volition's like a legendary. Like they've been around for a long time, and they made Free Space too. I mean, goddamn,
which is an amazing game.
So again, lots of closures, lots of layoffs this week. Both very surprising, and that super sucks. And I hope everybody lands on their feet. And the kind of like the silver lining, there's a lot of talented people at those studios that are going to kind of disseminate out into the industry and hopefully bring something new to the table.
Get out of this industry. This industry fucking sucks, man. Go get
or get out of the industry. This fucking sucks.
Some shitty tech job that pays twice as much. It has more stability because what the fuck?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild.
Make an indie game with your friends.
Fuck. But why don't we take a break, and then when we come back, we're gonna talk about the games we've been playing. Which is it's pretty good. It's pretty exciting time to be playing games because Blasphemous 2, Armored Core 6, Sea of Stars. There's some good stuff to be playing and talking about right now. So
yeah, okay.
So
Short break.
Yeah, short break. When we come back, we'll talk about those games, and of course, we'll wrap up the 4-player minute. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. Games, video games. We're playing them. We're not going to talk about Baldur's Gate this week, even though
I would much rather talk about.
Let's be honest.
Ooh, what are you trying to say about Armored Core, Crispy?
Well, here's the problem. If we talked about Baldur's Gate tonight, the only footage we have is the stuff from last week, or when
with the dog
with stripping all his characters naked.
Which went fine last time. We could show it again, but that's not.
Let's not push our luck.
Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, go.
It's pretty sweet, but I haven't played much of. Oh, Nick walked away.
He can hear us. How far have you played? How much have you played? Did you get to the notorious?
I got to Baltius. Is that what it's called? Yeah, I got to Baltius
at least
today.
As much as me.
I got there today, after I was done recording footage.
Oh, okay. Did he? Did he?
No, I haven't been.
Okay.
No.
Is this the boss that everyone's like, holy shit?
Yeah, he's a fucking bitch.
He's the Lubu of.
Yeah, he's just kind of.
You wouldn't understand that reference because you've disowned Wolong, but
yeah. What about the ape? Is this the ape, the Sekiro ape?
Or like
Margot,
or
first game
boss in the Castle of Elden Ring.
I've heard though that he's kind of like
no. The Sekiro, yes, but the guy, who's the guy with the lightning?
The lightning.
Genichiro.
Before, he's more like because more early-ish game. He's more Genichiro, of Armor. But it doesn't matter. We shouldn't be talking about Souls games because, man, let me tell you, they made another Armored Core game. I don't know about. There was a lot of talk of like, oh, are they going to make Mecha Souls? Well, they're not going to make Mecha Souls, but is it going to be like a Souls influence? They learned a lot from Souls. I mean, it's an Armored Core game.
But I hear a good one.
I mean, it is.
I mean, yeah. But
it is not a Souls game at all. As someone who played Armored Core since back on the PS1, look, I've never beaten an Armored Core game, but I've owned a lot of Armored Core games. I've dabbled in a lot of Armored Core games. I've been playing Armored Core since the PS1. This is an Armored Core game, and you do the same thing in all the Armored Core games. You go into missions that were kind of always a little bit like this, right? You, in between missions, you customize
your audio listener.
You buy parts, you customize your mech.
And for the audio listener, what is missions like this, quote unquote?
Like pretty straightforward. Like these are your objectives. Go here, fight these guys. Fight these things. Yeah, and they're missions. Some are long, some are short, but they're just like go do this thing and then come back to the hangar and build your shit. And there's not much difference between. I mean, there's not much. There's like these missions, and then there's like your hangar basically in the shop and stuff. And that's you just go back and forth doing these missions, and that's what This is an Armored Core game. It is a good one. It does. Probably control better than any other Armored Core game, maybe. I mean, it has been a very long time.
What platform was the last one on?
Like
PS4?
PS3, not 4.
4 Answers was a PS3 game?
No, 4 Answers was PS2. 5 was PS3 and 360.
Wait, no, the fucking
It's been a long time.
The last one was Verdict Day, and that was 2013 on the PS3 and 360.
That's what I was thinking.
And that one was not well received. I don't actually know why people didn't like that one. But all the other ones, I guess people kind of liked. The thing is, they have done some nice quality of life stuff. Like, for example, in a game where the two things you do are like shoot shit in your missions and customize your mech. I don't know if Armored Core's always been like this. I doubt it. But you can sell back anything you buy and get your full money back. which is huge because it encourages you to just try any and everything. And you can make all kinds of crazy builds and just sell shit back if you don't like it. Or if you just want to try a new build and you don't have enough money, just sell a bunch of shit because you could just buy it again. And I love that. That's very
That's pretty cool.
friendly. That's very like player
Build.
forward friendly, enjoy yourself. And so this feels like an Armored Core game. Armored Core is back. It is, probably more polished than ever, and they probably
It
spent
looks
more money
hella
on this one than
polished.
ever.
And the
But
people were ready.
it's the same. It's the same thing as it's always been. Like I think the strengths of it are, obviously like the action, right? But then it's the really kind of tinkering with your mech and getting back out there with something like truly kind of different, like different builds and stuff. But I mean, this
So
is not an RPG. There's no, I mean, we call them builds, but they're just like loadouts, right?
Oh,
Um,
sure. I mean,
you can have multiple.
you do literally build a mech.
yeah, but
So
it's
do you
not
have multiple builds that you
RPG
can swap
build.
between, or do you only ever have
You can
one
save
active
builds,
build?
yeah,
You can
absolutely.
save build sets based on the parts that you already own.
One thing they do
Gotcha.
in this game that I don't think they've done in Armored Core before is not only are there like checkpoints,
Which,
but
thank
you
God.
can there are when you get after
Resupply.
a checkpoint, after you die in a checkpoint, you can immediately go into assembly and start tweaking shit on your mech and just get back out there with kind of a new build, which you couldn't before. It was a lot more punishing, and this is probably why I always bounced off like the multiple times I've tried this series. Is I'd always love tweaking my mech. I love that shit. I've always loved that shit. It's the same thing as Front Mission. Front Mission is literally just Armored Core, but when battle, it's tiles instead of twitch action. But like the actual like the building of mechs are almost like identical in both games. Like they have similar stats, they have similar parts. It's just it's like a mech builder, and I've always loved that part. But I'd always get to like a frustrating like boss or mission, and I'd lose, and you start the whole mission over again, and I'm just kind of like, this is annoying. They removed a lot of the annoying from it, which is good. So it's polished, expensive, Armor Core with the less friction outside of some really uh, awful difficulty spikes with some of these
Yeah.
bosses. Maybe
So, question for Crispy, because I know you're big into like mech customization. Is it scratching that itch for you? I mean,
I
your
think. I
mech
mean, I
certainly
think
looks
the
pretty
the
cool.
actual like mech action of the game is sick as hell. Like absolutely.
Yeah.
Like the customization is awesome. Like I've been spending a lot of time just kind of fussing over like, oh well, if I put this head with these legs, like what will it do for my boost speed versus my weight? Like, well, which is really fun. And the actual like the gameplay of it, super slick. Like I've played. I like mechs. I like Gundam specifically. I've played the last couple Gundam games that came out, which would be like, I mean, not the last couple, but like I played Gundam Evolution. I played, uh,
Build
what's
fighters?
the fucking battle? No, the battle, the gotcha one, like the fucking free to play gotcha arena battler one. It's Battle Operations 2,
Okay.
and um, this feels more like almost more like like I think it emulates the heavy yet quick mech action better than either of those games, or really like any mech game that I can think of that is based around like moving the mech in an action sense.
Right.
Everything feels really heavy, but also like when you are boosting around and like jetting in to close the distance, going from long range to short range really quickly, flying and just like taking people out, it feels so cool. It feels unlike anything else I can think of.
Yeah.
It really has that like I don't know.
that whip
Like
look
I
really
want to
cool.
say that like Red Comet vibe where it's just like you're just like sliding in to position, like taking somebody out, and you're like, yeah, I'm a fucking mech ace. This is great. Super sick.
Did you get the assault boost kick?
Haven't I
Dude, get
saw
the assault boost kick. It's such a awesome move.
assault boosting in and of itself is so fun. Like just like lining up and flying at somebody, dodging their shots, and then like coming in with like the sword attack or something at the end of it.
It is
So
a
cool.
visual spectacle when you're doing the boost. Yeah.
So sick. So much fun. Yeah, you know what? I fucking died a few times in this footage, okay? I'm not great
That's
at
what
this
you
game
do
yet.
in this game is you
I'm
die
not
a
great
lot.
at this game yet. I'm still learning. It's my first Armored Core game. I'm still early on. I do beat this encounter in this footage though.
I just like how you can get silly and put like tank treads
Also,
on and a couple of bazookas. I
oh,
mean, yeah.
the range of like builds that you can make that completely changed the play style. Like,
Yeah.
so much fun. I was running around for a while with just like 2 pistols, and it felt like playing like Devil May Cry or something. Like, it was really sick. It was really really
Nice.
fun. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't have a lot of experience with the franchise to compare it to, but what I'm playing here, super cool. And
It's really
you can kind of feel like, knowing that this is a FromSoft game, you can kind of feel like a little bit of that DNA in the like combat of the game, you know?
Right.
really.
Um,
What do you mean there?
well, I mean, like the whole idea of conserving like your heals, the whole idea of like looking out for tells and countering them and having to learn like attack patterns
As best as you can.
as best as you can, and then like just the kind of like adaptability and the aggression of some of the boss characters is
You've
very
only,
feels
you've only
very
fought
soulsy to me.
It's a
Like,
sophisticated action game, but it also feels like kind of a like like a Dark Souls, like an Elden Ring, though that is such a like a sophisticated like RPG world thing. Like this is kind of like a lizard brain kind of
oh yeah.
basic. I mean, like it's very straightforward. This game, it's good at what it is, but it's not very like complex. It
Yeah.
is see robot, shoot robot, cool explosions, lasers, missiles, go tweak your mech, get out there, and you're just doing mission after mission after mission after mission, get more money, buy more parts, go kill shit. Like, this is not a sophisticated game. I mean, I'm saying this is like a platinum game, right?
Mhm,
But it's really fucking good at that.
mhm.
And there's not a lot of good mech. I mean, there's not a lot of mech games out there.
I
And like,
mean,
if you want a game that makes it feel awesome to be a mech, this is
This
a
is
good fucking game to play.
yeah.
I feel like there's not a lot of those these days, and it is really cool
No.
to see. It's cool to
Well-
see From Software finally kind of like break away from the kind of game they've been making for the past like decade and show that what they've learned as game developers can be not necessarily
Well,
applied, but like I mean I like the
it's a weird
fact that
thing to
they were
say that
able to.
when they've always made this series and they used to have like way more variety in the kind of games they put out before Souls got really popular.
But I think what it shows is that because Armored Core to some extent has always been kind of a niche franchise, right?
Well, yeah. I
So
mean, any
like
mech thing is niche, I guess. Yeah.
right, but like speaking as someone who hasn't played this game yet, but it does seem like they have taken what they've learned as game developers for the past decade, working on Dark Souls and Elden Ring and Demon Souls, all the shit, and not applied those kinds of mechanics and stuff, but kind of shown that like they have honed their instincts as game developers in ways that can be applied in multiple genres. Like they have found a way to make Armored Core, for all intents and purposes, I don't want to say mainstream necessarily,
Well,
but like I have a feeling this is going to be
not
more
even that.
successful.
I think you're
Also,
already making it sound more complex than it really is. Look,
Well, like
From
the last
Software,
few,
no, From Software is a good developer that have a lot more people. They have a lot more money. They made another one of these that they've always made, and I bet if you played these back then, like and took them seriously, you probably would have liked them. If you wanted to play a really good mech action game, but like, I don't think. I think you're like.
I mean, you said it
I think
yourself.
you're creating a narrative that isn't really
No, I
that
mean,
complex here. That they made another Armored Core game. It's almost like it's like saying they finally figured out Monster Hunter. No, Monster Hunter's always been good. They just had more money on this one. They had more interest in it, and they it was just the right amount of like quality of life, and like it's been long enough or whatever that right place, right time. All of a sudden, you have a lot more people playing Armored Core, and that's a great thing. I mean, for the same thing, I think Larian blew up with Baldur's Gate 3. Like, it's not like what they're making is really all that different. It's just they did it with more money this time, and a lot more people took notice.
They had more
specifically in
resources with the
marketing.
Yeah.
This game had probably way more marketing than any other Armored Core has.
Of course.
Because they had the
They
Elden
had like
Ring money
they had like
now.
Carl Urban and Rainn Wilson out doing commercials for this. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
They
Like,
put
I just
money into
I,
this
I just
marketing
bristle a
campaign.
little bit at the narrative of like, oh, they grew and learned how to look. They've
Well,
Armored Core game was cool back
yeah,
then.
I
Armored
don't
Core
think
was cool
it's
back
I don't
then
think it's
too.
supposed to be like they were bad before and they learned how to be good. I think it's more of
Yeah.
just like you can tell that they've refined a little bit. Like, you know what I mean?
Any
They've
game
sharpened
does.
the edges a little bit more. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
I don't
It's
think
probably
that
a
that's
combination
like
of those,
I don't
'cause
think that's
granted-
downplaying how good Armored Core was before. I mean,
And
but
you
the
know,
same
it
thing would
had
be
its
true with
issues and it had
multiplayer.
its frustrations. This is like
So let me. So I have gotten through almost to
we
the end of
haven't listened
chapter
to it.
3. I have played a lot
which
more
is
of
pretty
this
far
game.
in the game, right? That's pretty far in the game.
There are 6 chapters to this game, so I'm basically past the
Halfway.
halfway point.
Is this game doing like a near thing where you have to do multiple playthroughs to get all like to get the real ending?
God, I don't know,
but
and God, I
but
hope
I don't
not.
think it's
I've been hearing stuff like that, and I don't know like how true that is.
Yeah.
well, I mean, we haven't set up like the story is just a bunch of like audio logs, kind of, right? I mean, there's no
Yeah, I don't know what
There's
the
no-
larger story is going to be right now.
they
It's
have not made a
just
person in this
you're
game.
you're a slave who pilots a mech, and your handler is
every-
like, go
I
kill
I
these
skip every
people.
conversation.
I've
It-
All
played
right,
over
it's
a
just
6
dozen
so
to 1,
hours
go
in this
kill
game.
these people.
I have not seen a single human being in this game so far.
Yeah,
But
it's
I'm
just
gonna say
audio
it's-
logs between.
I don't
well,
think
not
you
audio
do.
logs, but audio. It's like a faceless codec between missions, and then you're on to the next one.
That's all
Yeah.
it is. It is a level of narrative that is, in my opinion, not acceptable for a linear single player game.
Boo! Party
I don't
pooper.
think
Shut
that
up,
is what they
Chris.
should be doing. Well,
There-
I have
there's
a lot of
multiple
unsavory
endings, and there is
opinions
a
about
new
this
game
game.
plus.
It's
I
an
think there's
85.
endings, and there is a news game plus. But I mean, that's not even.
Hey, you
Look.
know what game has a lot of story? Final Fantasy 16. Okay.
That's true. Yeah, if you want a lot of story, go play that.
God.
Yeah, if you want a good story, go
Or
play that.
don't.
So my
Boo.
after we're halfway through this game, I'm about to bounce off of it because I am having kind of a shit time. There's a
So-
lot of
so
things
tell
that
me
are
about your
just
shit
absolutely
time.
pissing me off.
Hmm.
For one, I think that the targeting lock-on system is absolute garbage.
Oh, you know?
Because you click to lock
no.
in, and if you even dare to put your thumb on that stick after you've locked on an enemy, it disengages the lock. So like you can use it it only works in that
You sure?
context when you have multiple enemies on screen to select. So it is so easy to disengage your lock in this game. And this is a game in which boss enemies and a lot of enemies are just constantly flying around you, and it can be very, very hard
Dude.
to track them.
You know what's
It is-
Is there
interesting
no
about
way
that?
to tweak that at all? Or
You know what?
No.
No, hang on. You know what's interesting about that though is that I was watching a video that Vati put out where he was like testing mechanics and things like that.
You're not supposed to lock on.
They found
time.
that like the lock on reduces your accuracy, like your hit rate,
That's
by
the
like
fucking
30%.
bullshit thing.
I mean, they never had lock on before. That's like a new thing.
You can increase your stats to. I mean, there's a stat that you can tweak, right, to make it to where that auto lock on is better,
It's a little harder.
more
Yeah.
accurate. But
Yeah.
but I mean, it's because these games never had a target lock before, and now they do, and I don't think they want it to be like a
A thing. They don't want it to be
a
like
Z
Dark
targeting
Souls.
sort of thing. It's just supposed to be like it's literally just sort of like a mech style aim assistance.
Well, let me put it this way. The design of these enemies and a lot of the bosses specifically are so mobile and so fast paced that it is unrealistic for you to not have a target system. Because you are there you fought the first chapter 1 boss, Baltreus or whatever it's called. And
Yeah.
it is this mech that is absolutely zooming across the map and flying past you and constantly very hard to keep track of unless you have that lock on. But
So you said because the camera can't keep up with his movements?
The camera cannot keep up, no matter what. If you turn your
you have your camera on
sensitivity
10?
all the way up, it still wouldn't be able to keep up. It is.
You could. Do you have like a hover mech? I mean, you could get like a mech that is. I mean,
but I shouldn't have to reconfigure my mech just so I can tilt my perspective to track my enemy.
That's the game, dude.
Wait.
Yes, it
Have you been
absolutely
stubborn
is.
about your mech build? Have you been stubborn about your mech build?
No, I've been having to change it around and quite a lot.
He said he wanted to do melee build. He said he wanted to punch and shit.
Because I came into this game thinking, okay, I've never played an Armored Core game. I expected to be somewhere in between Mech Assault and fucking Zone of the Enders. I was like, okay.
It is kind of that.
After like the first 45 minutes, I realized that wasn't realistic. And I have built up my mech, my core in so many different perspectives. Like for a melee build, I built it for mid-range, for long range, explosives, cannons, even just like full shotgun builds to really close the distance.
And full shotgun.
Like,
dude, the weapon bays, if you just like put the 2 shotguns in the weapon bays and take them, they solve many problems.
I started dual wielding because I've had a lot of trouble with the melee just missing it. Like it comes out really slow, and I'm like, it feels so bad to miss a.
But okay, so here's another thing, is that this game, like, because the director of this game is the same guy, and this may not be this probably isn't the proper reasoning for it, but the director for this game is the same director who did Sekiro. Okay? One of the key aspects of Sekiro was the whole stagger meter. How you built that up in parrying and blocking to build up the stagger meter, stun the enemy, and go in for a kill, right?
Right.
So there's a stagger meter for your mech and enemy mechs.
Yeah.
But the problem is that this game is built around mainly projectile weapons that you constantly have to reload. And you want to know how you reload in this game?
I'm the only one who doesn't know the answer to that question.
You press the triangle button, you hold the triangle button, and then you press the trigger or shoulder button that represents the weapon you want to reload.
Dude, Chris.
Or you have to go spend the entire magazine.
Chris, get the weapon base.
Oh, if you put them in the weapon bay,
you fire the gun until it's out, throw it in the weapon bay, and it reloads while you're using something else.
Or cools down.
Like, this is all stuff you should be building for. Like,
but the weapon base, you can't have shoulder-mounted missiles, right?
You can't, but like carrying extra primary weapons seems really powerful.
But I feel like missiles and a lot of that sort of stuff helps kind of like lock down the enemy to open them.
That's the thing.
Some of them.
You have to. This game is all about building up that stagger meter, and if you cannot hit them with your primary weapon, you have to have something that's constantly peppering them, or
that's why I'm saying
go down.
That's why I'm saying get the weapon base and do double shotguns, because those shotguns will open anything up.
So wait, you do double shotguns and then
just like run in,
shotguns?
Hit them with both, and then flip out with the sword and like whatever I'm using in my main hand. Do sword, shoot, and then by the time
every enemy.
It doesn't, but it works for a lot of them. It works for a lot of them.
It works for the lot that you played in Chapter 1. Trust me. There are some enemy designs in this game that are just too fast and too deadly.
So you're saying the boss of Chapter 1 is not the hardest boss in the game? People were acting like he was.
That's not what I've heard.
I mean, what I'm telling you is that there is a level of Soulsian design in these enemies, and the game's controls and conceit of combat with your mech does not gel with that design philosophy.
Look at that. Farrakhan says I'm right and you're wrong. Thanks, Farrakhan. What's up?
Okay. Huh? All I'll say is this.
Shotguns are the best weapons in the
game. I've never played it.
The shotguns is I don't like the feedback on them.
I mean, I can also understand like being like having kind of like, you know, you see a certain you see a kind of game. You're like, I think I want to play this game like that. And then you go into it thinking it's going to be that, and then the game kind of is basically kind of pushing you away from playing with the style that you're desiring to play it in, right? Like that. I feel like that's kind of what's happening here with Chris Davis, because it sounds to me like some of these issues you're having could be addressed by altering certain play
Take it to
style.
the garage.
It could
Take
be
it to the garage.
Get
but
good. I mean,
I'm
really.
mostly. I'm not saying get good. I'm just saying like.
Yes, you are, Nick. Say it.
I would never say that.
The toxic.
I'm not a monster.
The toxic Armor Core community.
I just,
somebody in chat.
I'm surprised you've played so much and like you haven't found your rhythm yet that you're ready to bounce off. I mean, how many hours would you say you put into this? Have you been doing arena battles?
yeah, I've been doing every arena battle I can. I've been doing
training
all the single player missions. I've been doing.
So you've really been kind of going at it, and you're at a point now. I feel like at the point you are, you should have already been like,
peace out.
Oh,
like
no, I mean.
I stopped playing
you're at the point where you're like,
they just
this is
introduced
magic.
the chapter 3 boss, like what to expect of it, and I saw it and what it wants to do for this, and I'm like, I'm not certain I have the energy for this.
You have the kind of energy of someone who's been stuck on a boss like all night, and then you came to do a podcast, kind of. Which I don't blame you for that.
I've been there
because I hate that this game is kind of like has been like the narrative surrounding this game has been kind of like it is with Sekiro, where people are stuck on bosses and making memes about bosses and boss this boss this boss is hard, this boss is hard, and I kind of hate that. I like the stuff between the bosses. I don't like getting stuck on a boss and fighting over and over again.
There were plenty of times where I told myself like, you know what, I fucking hate this game when I was playing Sekiro. And then I still was like, it's one of my favorite games of the year. But
I just wish the actual missions between bosses were interesting.
Like, I mean, some of them are cool. Some of them are cool, but some of them are like.
It's okay. Chris Davis isn't a mech guy. We get it. He doesn't like giant robots. Doesn't like mechs. He's a kaiju man. Likes giant monsters. They're the natural enemy of mech guys. He's just a fucking pretender. He's a little fucking baby pretender. His favorite mech anime is Neon Genesis Evangelion, and those are basically kaiju. They're not even really like robots.
I mean, you're technically not wrong.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought.
I mean, my second favorite is Macross, but that's a whole other conversation.
Oh,
that's basically a transformer.
But you like the aliens. You don't like the humans who ride the mechs.
I think you're misdirecting. Like, I'm the person here who maybe is
the
one who doesn't like giant mechs very much. I feel like the only mech thing I've played Zone of the Enders and I loved it, and Mech Warrior. I forgot which Mech Warrior I played, but I played a Mech Warrior.
Probably.
No, it was Mech Warrior.
You never played the Mech Assault games? Those are cool.
No,
I think it was Mech Warrior games.
Mech Warrior 2, I think, is what I played. But my point is,
Mech Assault is also kind of a brainless action game. I mean, this is a brainless action game. There's just a lot of customization.
All right, well, let's move on.
I mean, it's not like BattleTech or something. BattleTech
I think good. That you're.
I like mechs. Mechs are cool. I wish
I love mechs too. I just think that like once you get past the first chapter into chapter 2 and 3, then come back and talk about it. I have a distinct feeling that you're going to have.
No, I don't want to hear that. I thought getting out of chapter 1, I got over the hump, and that it was all like
everyone says it's a hump.
No.
I did watch the donkey video. Did y'all see the donkey video? He has this build, which is like it's like a tank tread, but it's like tiny, and he's zipping around like it's like a super fast. It's like a wheel. He calls it like a wheelchair, and I'm like, that looks super fun. I want to make that. So I'm excited. Just seeing that, it looked pretty rad.
Well, let's visit this
too. And shotguns are the solution to everything.
I don't want shotguns to be the solution to everything because some of that stuff looks so cool. I want to be using all that cool looking shit, not fucking shotguns the whole game.
All right, let's can it for now and revisit it after y'all have played more. And I honestly would like to play this game at some point. It's just one of those. This is here's the thing. It's one of those games I want to play, but I don't know if I want to spend. I don't know if I want to spend $70 to find out that it's not for me.
I'll let you borrow my copy if you promise to give it back.
You really would miss it if you didn't give it back to me.
Yeah, you just said you hate it.
Fucking hater.
Well, it has a
Give it a good home, Nick. Give it a home to someone who will appreciate it.
Yeah, like me and Demon Souls.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. So Chris Davis, while we have you here, and you were just talking about Armored Core, and your steam's coming out of your ears talking about that game. Give us your very, very. I want to emphasize brief because I want to talk about this game, but I haven't started it yet. but I know you've started Sea of Stars. I just want to get your very early thoughts on it. We'll talk more about it on a future episode when we've had a chance to dig into it. But
yeah,
you've played like what, 3 or 4 hours?
I played about 4 hours. I recorded this footage this afternoon. I'm still very early on. I just got my third character. Well, I've had my third character for a bit, but I'm like actually in combat and trying out new things with them.
For those who maybe have missed, this is the kind of the the prequel, so to speak, to the Messenger, but it's
official
a
prequel to the Messenger.
But it's like a throwback to like classic JRPGs.
Specifically, it's a throwback to Chrono Trigger.
Okay.
And forgive me, I had not played Chrono Trigger in a very long time. I don't remember a whole lot of it. I need to get back to it.
Forgive me, I have never played Chrono Trigger.
Well, it's a good game.
I know.
This game brings a smile to my face. I am very happy when I'm sitting down and playing this game. If there's an adjective to describe this, it's delightful. It is.
And that's kind of the vibe I got from playing the demo. Yeah.
It is a lighthearted affair with a great presentation, both visual and especially audio. It's a fun combat system, exploring the world. It's not deep in any regard of exploration, things like that, because it is kind of like a 2D game. But it is pretty, and it is varied enough in its arrangement of levels and the hidden stuff that you will find on the maps that you will not stop smiling while you're playing this game.
I do think, from what we've heard, we mentioned this a little bit during the break, is that it does have a bit of a slower start. So like what you're kind of the place you're in now, you're, for all intents and purposes, you're probably still pretty early.
Oh yeah,
in the game. So you probably over time, I assume over time, it's probably going to deepen, or it's gonna open up and whatnot.
How long is this game?
Supposedly
30 hours.
Yeah,
roughly 30
Does it have
hours?
like a world map?
Yes. And if we keep talking about it, I'll eventually get to show you the world map. But it's, like I said, Chrono Trigger inspired. The world map looks like Chrono Trigger.
I will say, I had a good feeling about this game when I played the demo. Like, I really enjoyed it. As someone who, like I wish I had played Chrono Trigger, but I don't have that. I don't really have that frame of reference necessarily.
You played some Chrono Trigger.
I mean, I remember playing through what is it, like the fair at the beginning of that game, and then something happens.
Oh God, I thought you played more than that.
It's okay, Nick. It's okay, Nick. Chrono Trigger's for losers.
No,
well, I
wrong.
mean, you wouldn't like it.
Do you want us to get canceled, Crispy? Because
losers.
Statements like that, no, you can't say that.
Boring.
I think Chrono Trigger is special, but also a little overrated. I mean, it's not the deepest RPG. I mean, that's always worry about these RPGs that are like, oh, we're gonna be like Chrono Trigger, but like, can you do that? But also maybe like have some like interesting progression and combat mechanics, because Chrono Trigger sort of didn't.
Well, this does have some interesting combat mechanics behind it.
Well, it's Mario RPG, right?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people throw Mario RPG comparisons, which I think is great. I mean, honestly, that's I like Mario RPG style. You know what I mean? I'm not going to have any complaints in that regard.
The combat is halfway between a traditional classic JRPG and that of Super Mario RPG. Specifically for Super Mario RPG, the biggest thing I can point out is that the active block or emphasis attack system of just pressing a button as soon as your strike hits or as the enemy's hitting you, that is a big mechanic in this game. So much so that you can do extra attacks based on how precise you are with pressing that button. There is also a strong emphasis on planning out the order in which you order your attacks, because you're not set to go character by character in order. You can switch between your characters within the same turn.
You can swap the arrangement of them.
Yeah, like if I want Garl here to attack first instead of Zale or Valere, I just swap to him and he can do it in the same turn.
Garl,
G-A-R.
Garl. This is
Garl?
JRPG.
Kills people.
there's a whole system with like the combat with enemy turns, in which, you know, in between their turns, they'll get a countdown telling you when they're going to attack next, and that's after the next action in order. But often enough, those enemies will be powering up for a special attack or a skill attack. And when they're doing that, the game will put up markers indicating what kind of damage you can do to that enemy to stun them and cancel out their turn and prevent them from doing that special attack. Which leads you to kind of strategizing like what enemies to prioritize and what enemies to potentially tank the damage for, because you know what is going to be a more difficult hit to deal with.
Okay.
It's kind of light on like the character building. It's you get set item slots for your characters that yield special abilities and boost offense, defense, things like that.
When you say character, though, you're talking about like from a like equipment and skills.
From an equipment and skills perspective.
Not from like a narrative perspective.
You do get narrative as the narrative goes on. You do get new abilities and expanded capacity for doing things. Like in the footage, there are sometimes these little blobs will fly out of enemies, and those are actually boost mana that I can choose to absorb and use to deliver extra damage on an attack and deliver elemental damage on an attack. It's things like that really kind of add up and really make you kind of think about how you want to approach a combat encounter. And it's all really good. It's also very forgiving, I will say, is that if a character goes down, like they're not dead. And as far as I can tell, there's no fail state necessarily. No, there's fail states if all the characters go down at the same time. But if one goes down, they'll get back up after a certain amount of turns based on how many stars are flying around their head. So you don't have to worry about necessarily prioritizing heals and stuff like that if you can afford to calculate the rotation and know which enemies to attack.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that happens plenty in my footage here. I use it to my strict advantage.
Okay.
I will say there's also a strong emphasis on ingredients collecting and cooking to build out your items. In fact, Gale's title is he's a warrior cook. He fights with like a pot lid as a shield. And he cooks all the meals for the group, and he collects recipes as he's going through the world and you're exploring. And so
I'm into any game that gives you cool, tasty looking food. That's just a general.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool because when you pop up like the cooking screen of what you want to build with recipes, and you hold down the button, it goes through a slideshow of actually cooking those ingredients. It's pretty nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah. Okay, I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to dive too deep into this because by the time we record another podcast, I will have played a bunch of this myself, and I would like to be able to, have a back and forth.
Did you get this on Steam, Chris Davis?
No, I bought it on PS5.
Damn it.
I got it on Steam.
Someone could check his playtime to make sure he's not doing a Perception. Or what's that? What was the game?
Why can't we ever remember the name of that game?
It's Perception, and it was 47 minutes.
I don't think it was Perception.
No, I think it was. I think it was. All right.
It was not 47 minutes.
No, there was a game where you literally had played 12 minutes or something.
Yeah, that's the one.
All right.
I hate all of you.
I want to say it was isometric. I don't know.
It wasn't.
Let's revisit Sea of Stars next time.
Next week.
This is a great game so far. I'm really, really enjoying it.
I had a good feeling about it. I didn't know what to expect really from a critical reception standpoint. So I was actually really surprised and really pleased to see it score as well as it did.
I don't believe the review scores, but I'm happy to try it.
We know that.
We're living in a post-Chained Echoes world.
Dude, you are just a fucking RPG snob, man. Like,
also,
I don't think that's it. I don't think that's
I've played all the way through.
I just look for the
Echoes.
crunch in my RPGs, and my indie RPGs should match that. I mean, look, we spent the last month, 2 months shitting on Final Fantasy 16 for barely being an RPG, but indie RPG can come along and have these shallow ass systems, and then everyone's like, "Oh, the pixel art and the music, we forgive it, we forgive it." Look,
Here's
I
my
like
problem with that,
indie
Brad.
RPGs can have that sort of crunch and depth that people like me like a Crosscode, like a Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. I'm just saying. I feel like these games being indie do not give them like a get out of jail free card when it comes to like these
But here's the
shallow
thing,
ass
Brad.
systems.
Here's the thing, Brad. Not everybody is looking for the crunch that you're
Okay,
looking
I'm
for.
only speaking for myself over here.
Okay. I mean, then what are we talking? What are we arguing about?
I don't know.
Let's shelve it for now and talk about it on a future episode.
Oh,
I have one more game I want to make sure we make time for. We talked a long time about Armored Core. What?
No, Beck posted the image of his Perception playtime. I think this was after the podcast.
Can we talk about Blasphemous 2 and move on?
Yes, we can.
12 minutes.
God.
It's 12 minutes.
Speaking of shallow indie Metroidvanias.
Oh, God damn it, Brad. This is. I knew this was going to fucking happen.
It's fine. It's fine. I don't know if I ever gave my thoughts on Blasphemous 1, but I came out of Blasphemous 1.
You did.
People were really hyped for this new one. And I saw some trailers. So I'm like, oh, well, they are adding new weapons and there's more platforming. And they did clean up a lot of the platforming mechanics and stuff. So that's exciting.
It feels like a sharper version of Blasphemous 1.
Hours of this game, it just seems kind of like I feel like people overstate the vibes of the Blasphemous games. I think that first one has like really good voice acting and cool, like you're talking to these large like pixel art characters and stuff, and that's cool, right? It's got like the Soulsian feel, but I feel like 90% of your playtime is just running through halls and paths, and like that vibe is not really that present. It just feels like you're playing a Metroidvania, and I'm getting that even more so in this game, where it
How much
feels
have you
like
played?
I'm
Just out of
playing,
curiosity.
like I said, a few hours.
Okay.
It feels like a pretty basic bitch one of these, and it's fine. Like it is more like mechanically sound, but I'm less mystified. It's just sort of that realization that stuff that is kind of exciting and unique to Blasphemous isn't really like in your face all the time. It's there when you go back to like a town. There's like a handful of NPCs that are really cool and looking, and they are well voice acted and stuff. But like for the most part, you're just playing like a pretty standard Metroidvania, and I find myself not like it seems like a game that if it came out in January, if it came out in like
Okay, well, let's
like
not start picking
between
apart every
big
game just because of
releases.
when they chose to release it. You know what I mean?
No, I'm saying that like so far, really nothing is that stand out about this game. In a season of lots and lots of standout games, like this ain't doing anything special for me yet, and I'm a little disappointed because I just rushed through Blasphemous 1. Well, I didn't even rush through Blasphemous 1. I took my time. But like I was really excited about this, and then I'm surprised by how much I was just kind of like,
okay,
it's pretty good.
I have played about 12 hours of this game, and I'm about 50% of my way through it.
Through the map.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm looking at the progression screen. It says 50%, so I guess that's 50%.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, you're 50% through.
Yeah,
sure.
So I don't disagree with what you're saying, Brad, but I also I'm not like necessarily the Metroidvania connoisseur, I suppose.
I'm not trying to be snobby about it. I'm just saying it's not doing anything special to me yet.
And I will say this, as someone who played Blasphemous 1 and really liked it, I don't think this game is doing anything so new and refreshing that makes it really stand out from Blasphemous 1, other than just being kind of a more tightly refined version of Blasphemous 1 with an updated map and cool new characters and story. Like it is, if you've played Blasphemous 1, you kind of know what to expect. I do think after playing 12 hours of it, there is a lot. And you've played Blasphemous 1 more recently than I have, so I can't really say for sure.
This feels a little bit more like manicured than the first one, but I feel like not in a good way. It reminds me a little bit of like
manicured in this
Bayonetta
context.
2. Like it seems like a little more like streamlined, like all the way all the areas are laid out and fit together. It just seems like
Dude,
oh, we figured this out. Let's put all these Lego pieces together. And I feel like there's no, in terms of like level design or level progression, as I'm exploring this world, none of these areas or the way they flow or the way they connect, like none of it's like surprising or interesting to me in such a way as like, oh, well, I kind of wasn't expecting this or not, wasn't expecting this. It just seems paint by numbers is the most insulting way to say it, but it's like they figured out a way to make a Metroidvania, and they're putting those pieces together, and there's no like rough edges or prickly parts or like where's the texture? It's just like a pretty streamlined Metroidvania in a way that I feel like isn't a good fit for a game with the vibe of Blasphemous. Like we talked about Chasm earlier, maybe during the break. That also felt very like streamlined and like refined and let's put it together. But whatever, that fits for Chasm. For Blasphemous, I feel like it feels wrong because Blasphemous has Souls game DNA
oh yeah,
in its
tons of it.
presentation, but like a Souls game would never feel like that. And this feels like a very streamlined Metroidvania, and that feels wrong for Souls.
Okay,
I want to
I don't
It's a
necessarily
very
agree with that
intangible
statement.
the way I'm describing this, and I apologize, but it's just the feel I get while playing it, and it feels like sometimes I just want like a really long hallway with nothing in it, right? Or like a fucked up
That's
like
definitely in here.
no, but do you understand what I'm saying? Like I want
Not really.
texture, and I feel like there's not enough texture here.
I
It
I can
feels
only
too well made or too
dude,
well put together.
I don't know I don't
What does
really
that
know what to
even
tell you
mean?
here to kind of I don't
It's
really know
like
what to tell you here
Bayonetta
to
2.
see. I loved Bayonetta 2.
Like
So
there isn't
They
enough like
sanded down all the
organic.
complaints of like the first one and made something a little too smooth. And it feels
okay,
wrong for a game born of Souls
I
DNA.
literally what I will say is I literally don't know how to respond to that
Well, you don't
because
have to. Just say, huh, interesting point. Let me say
no,
what I
you
was going to
sure
say.
it's an interesting perspective that
Well,
I
an
just don't
interesting
share.
point.
All I can say is so for me, I haven't played as many Metroidvania. In fact, Metroidvanias are relatively speaking, a kind of a new obsession for me. It's only been in the past like 6 or 7 years that I've really been like,
Right.
oh, I love this genre. So
Well,
like,
you've
it
always been
feels like
playing them if you like Zelda.
if sure, I guess, but I just never thought of them that way, right? And what am I trying to say?
Oh,
Like, quite honestly, like for me, obviously, Hollow Knight is kind of like I feel like I look at Hollow Knight kind of the same way you look at Symphony of the Night. I think Hollow Knight is kind of it's just in terms of like it for me. That's kind of what every Metroidvania should kind of be aspiring to.
yeah, Hollow
Not,
Knight's incredible. Incredible.
yeah, it is
One of the
incredible.
best
But
games ever made.
I would also say, and maybe this is I don't want to. In a lot of this, I know what Blasphemous is pretty close for me. It's like it is.
To Hollow Knight.
I mean, it feels weird saying it that way, but I would say like I don't feel like many games come close to Hollow Knight, but Blasphemous is up there for me in terms of like just evoking a mood, getting the hooks in me and making me like super like this is one of those games when I start playing it, it's really hard for me to put down because it's just like okay,
Blasphemous 2 or
just
1?
2 or 1. I
Are,
mean, I
are
don't
you are
remember
you getting those vibes as strong from this one as you were the first one?
See,
The
it's
mood.
harder. It's harder for me to say because I haven't played Blasphemous 1 in like 2 or 3 years. So I don't really remember specifically. It's like it's even harder for me to like. I do think this is a pretty. It feels like kind of a safe sequel to me. Like it definitely
Yes.
feels like Blasphemous. I will give it. I will give you that.
And
There's no.
Blasphemous, it almost seems it's almost blasphemous to make a sequel that's safe in the Blasphemous series.
Okay. Sure. Like I can see what you're saying there because I feel like there's a lot of room for. I feel like what they did with Blasphemous 1 is just like super creative and it made me feel a certain way that not many games do, like outside of Dark Souls, like to not like
Like
really
remember when you get the
run with
spell
that.
that like all like this cool fucking like water face appears, and that's like the way you get back to your last checkpoint or whatever.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
this, like that's such a cool looking spell, and like, oh, it's like my go back to my safe space spell, but look how fucking sick it looks. And then you just get it in this game, and it's the same one, and it's like that feels wrong. Like,
I will say this game has the crunch that I look for, which is for me, it's just like, and sorry, I'm using crunch in a little bit a different context here. Like, it has the thing that I'm looking for in a good Metroidvania, which to me is like a map that just keeps kind of like folding back on itself, and I'm poking at it, and like I kind of push as far as I can in one area, then I'm like, well, I can't really progress farther here, so I'm gonna go back to the main town, and I'm just gonna go in a different direction and see what I can find. And then I find something cool over here, and then I find some random item, and I'm like, what does this item do? Who do I need to give this to? What is this for? And then I'm just like,
there might
I'm
be a
gonna
little
keep
bit too
poking at the
much
map
of like,
until I
what is
find it.
this for? But you get a
Like,
lot. I noticed that about Blasphemous 1 is you get a lot of items that you're just like, what is this for? Who's this for?
there's a lot of new platforming stuff too that I don't remember being super prominent in the first game. Like because you have 3 different weapons in this game that you choose. You choose one at the beginning, and that's kind of the main focus. You eventually unlock the other 2 weapons, but it kind of feels like whichever one you pick at the beginning is going to end up being the one that's the most powerful throughout the game. But when you unlock those other weapons, it unlocks new ways of traversing the environment, because they all do very specific things in terms of like getting through like certain special kinds of doors, or there's these bells that you can hit. I don't remember these were in the first game, but you can like there's these like floating platforms that are invisible, but you have to hit this bell with a heavy object. So you have your like mace thing. You hit the bell, it rings, and you can see like the sound wave go out. And when the sound wave hits these things, these invisible platforms, they materialize for a very short period of time, and then you can jump across them, like shit like that, which I think is really cool. I don't remember there being a ton of that kind of stuff in the first game. Maybe I'm just misremembering.
No, there is actual like interesting. Not only is it a meaningless word, I wouldn't even use it here. There are like platforming like mechanics in such a way that it's almost like puzzle like, and platforming challenges that they're put together in such a way, they string together in such a way where you're getting like this sort of obstacle that kind of really didn't exist in the first game. There was platforming, but it was just sort of the level design in front of you. But here, there's like these platforming challenges all over the place that utilize these different weapon mechanics, and that's cool. They just seem a little
Maybe a little uninspired. Like
uninspired. Yeah, sure.
I will only say that because, like you said, I think Blasphemous has such a cool atmosphere and vibe, and like just kind of like the possibilities are kind of endless in terms of like some of the crazy shit they could probably come up with. But instead, what we've ended up with is like a heavy sword, a heavy thing, like kind of weaker, like fast, like 2-handed weapon, and like a sword, like that's kind of like mid range. And like that seems it doesn't seem as inspired as it could be for a game as kind of
it's
crazy.
not even
and
so much like
this.
it needs to be inspired. It's just that Blasphemous ones like carved out its own like space in the genre with that vibe, and that was good. And now in the first one, it's like, look, we improved the platforming, we added more weapon variety, like we made all these things quote unquote better, maybe at the expense of like vibe and stuff, and it feels more gamey, right? But it's also like it's also like, okay, well, here's a slightly interesting like platforming challenge, but like also I like half a decade ago I played Ori and Guacamelee, and they were like way better at that than this. So this feels just kind of pedestrian in comparison, and they put so much effort into something that, it's like when they improved the shooting in a Metal Gear game. It's like, wow, I'm glad it's better than it was in the last one, but like it's still pretty bad when you look at every like regular ass shooters. But like, so focus on being like the good, focus on being a good Metal Gear game instead of a good shooter, because
right.
that's not what I'm here for.
The strengths of a game like Ori, which I think is also another like fantastic Metroidvania, is that it's so much more focused, I think, on quick movement and traversal through an environment, and this is much more focused on, like, to me, and I hope this doesn't sound blasphemous to say, Brad, to me this feels much more akin to the the way the character feels to move around the world, and the way he kind of like attacks and stuff. It feels much more like Castlevania, like to me, like Symphony of the Night.
Okay, y'all have
Even
used
though
blasphemous as a pun twice now. You do it.
Sorry,
Third time we move on to the next topic.
Well,
Yeah,
we need to, we do need to move on, but
yeah, we do need to.
But
I mean,
yeah,
look. I was not even disliking it. I do find like this kind of game very addictive. It is very much a genre that I enjoy, but I just found myself like, the kind of thing we always say when I'm not playing. It's like, oh, I really need to get back into Blasphemous. It's like, no, I mean, because I feel like I've played this game a million times before, and maybe better versions of it, and I can play Baldur's Gate and Zelda, and those are the best games ever.
My final thought on sure, and that's fair. My final thought on this would be that, like,
it's unfair. It's not fair.
I think if you liked Blasphemous, specifically if you're like me, if you liked Blasphemous because of the vibe and just kind of like the constant going, what the fuck, like that stuff, I think this game does that still exceptionally well. Especially more the further you get into it, I think it really captures that mood, and to me that's kind of what's most important. But like, I do like you said, I do think they have improved on just about every like actual mechanic in the game, even if, like you said, it kind of like smooths the edges a little bit, maybe to the point where it's almost too smooth. But for what it's worth, I'm having a really great time with it. I can't put it down when I do start playing it. I managed to play it for like 12 hours in the past like 3 days, which is, pretty good for me considering I don't have a ton of time.
Yeah.
So,
But look,
I'm going to plow through this and finish it so I can get to Sea of Stars and get back to Baldur's Gate.
We live in a post-Dave the Diver world.
Yes, we do. Dave the Diver. Also, you got to fucking stop saying that.
For the love
like,
of God,
I heard someone say that on another podcast. We live in a post-blank world, and I was blown away. For a second there, I thought we invented that, and we were the only ones who said that. But I think
absolutely
other people
not.
say that.
Absolutely not. We did not invent that. In fact, we aped it from somebody else. Okay, let's wrap up. I think that's it for impressions tonight. Let's wrap up with the 4-player minute. Our final thoughts for the evening. Crispy, you look like you're ready to go first. Is that?
Oh,
is that
yeah, hell yeah, let's do it.
He's making finger guns over here. I'm not sure if that really means he wants to go first, but
I didn't mean anything. I was just yeah. All right, fine. I'll go first. I was planning on just talking a little bit more about Super Mario Wonder.
Ooh.
We got that 15-minute presentation today, and they showed
Should
off
I watch that?
Yes, you haven't seen it?
No, I missed it.
It's only 15 minutes.
It
looks sick.
Mario Brothers.
Guys, I was too busy stressing about Starfield reviews and talking to people in Discord about Taylor Swift.
Stressing about Starfield reviews.
I mean, I was actually really stressing about it because I fucking hate the toxicity around that game before it's even out yet.
No, that game deserves it. It's fine. Todd and Pete will be fine. Don't worry. Okay. But Super Mario Wonder, we got that 15-minute mini Nintendo Direct today that was just Super Mario Wonder. They were showing off all the characters, the new mechanics, like new forms, and it looks sick as hell. There's like 12
badges?
different players. There's badges.
Oh.
There's like 12 different characters you can play as, including.
What do the badges do?
I don't know.
They modify. I thought you watched this presentation.
I did. I don't remember what.
Saying I didn't.
So
you're talking
so,
about
so badges are almost like a
remember
skill
what
tree.
the
Like you
badges
unlock these badges, which like
Oh,
give like
yeah.
like dramatically change mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
Before you like go into a level, like all of a sudden you can like climb up walls or something, or all of a sudden you have like a grappling hook, and now you can play a level with like these new mechanics.
Like there's one that just gives you a super mushroom every time you start a level. Like all kinds of there's like it. They're all just passive upgrades. They have a couple new forms, including bubble form, which looks really cool because you shoot out bubbles and they capture enemies, but you can do them through walls, you can do them in multiple directions at the same time, and they count as platforms for like jumping. Like you can throw out bubbles and then like jump off of them. Like, it looks sick as hell. They have the elephant form, which we've already seen, but they showed a little more of it today. They showed a drill form where you have like a drill on top of your head, and you can burrow into the ground or even like burrow into the ceiling and just like move by obstacles and enemies. They showed standees, the like the thing that we were kind of talking about that was like a little Dark Soulsy, where like you can see standees left by other players. And they'll do different things. Like you can, like they'll sometimes they'll like people will leave power ups that you can pick up, or like you get bonuses for like revive, like sending out revives to people. Like people can send you revives, or you can send them revives. It looks fucking wild. Like it just looks crazy. And the more I keep looking at the art style, the more I'm like really into it. Like I think this game looks cool. Like visually looks cool.
Yeah.
I think I really enjoy it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why, but I also think it's like the coolest thing in the world that like so I said they had like 12 different characters you can play as. There's like some of them are like easier characters. So like you can have like a kid play like the Nabbit or whatever, and it's like on easy mode, like they can't die or something. Or you can have them play Yoshi, or with the Yoshi specifically, like anyone can just hop on a Yoshi player and ride them like wherever, even if you're Yoshi.
Henry.
Yeah, like that's awesome for like playing with like kids or girlfriends who don't really care. Like they can just have them like ride, like you play as Yoshi, have them jump on your back, and you just like carry them through the level. Like I don't know, man. I think this is
Nintendo's pretty good at making games.
I am
huh?
100% going to play the fuck out of this game. I
am super excited, and I think the people are ready.
People
are ready.
Give me a
for
score.
The return of 2D Mario.
Give me a score, Crispy.
On the record?
On the record.
It's all on the record, baby. We're recording.
91.
91.
We're in agreement. I think this is going to be low 90s.
I feel like that's probably a safe bet, honestly. All right, let's go. We're going out of completely out of order this time. Let's throw it to Chris Davis. Final thoughts.
Okay. My final thoughts are first, like, I am really gutted about Mimimi. I cannot express to you how upset I was reading that news and reading that post from them, because, again, that experience I had with talking to them at that E3, that's one of the reasons I would want to go back to an E3, just for those kind of interactions. Seeing people that are so passionate about what they're making, and then coming out with a brilliant game.
We're still gonna play Shadow Gambit.
Yeah, I bought it. It's just waiting on me.
Access to a Steam account again.
Yeah, bitch, I don't know what happened there. I don't know how you and Carlos suddenly don't have it. It says y'all have access to my library. On my end.
Not how the Steam library sharing works. We're gonna have to reset it.
God, every time I do that, I have to change my password.
Is that if you're gonna be fussy about it, then I'm not gonna play Shadow Gambit.
No, it's just like every time I do it, I'm like, oh, okay, we did it, we got it out of the way.
You don't have to change your password. You know, I set my password so y'all can have access to my account, and I've never changed it.
Well, that's not safe. Okay, sorry. Yeah. Continue, Chris Davis.
Brad,
if y'all are criminals.
Did you play Shadow Tactics or Desperados?
Me?
Yeah, I played both. I played some of both. I didn't finish.
Desperados was in my top 10.
Yeah. Brad, what is that password?
Yeah,
you know
say it out loud on the audio for the internet to hear. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Brad is a fart baby 98.
That's how did you know? That's exactly what it is. In more lighthearted stuff to talk about, I am very, 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 very happy that I finished Baldur's Gate 3 over last weekend.
That is insane to me, Chris. I will be playing that game.
What's your hour count on that? What's your hour count on that?
Do you want to talk about in-game hour count or overall count?
What's your body count?
In-game, I don't know. What's the difference?
Yeah, because in-game count is lower because it doesn't count like reloads.
Yeah, no. I mean, what was your actual like save file?
Hours? Yeah,
I don't give a shit. Just tell us a number. They're both
130 hours.
Okay, I mean that's not surprising for this type of game.
It took me 4 months to finish Tears of the Kingdom, and that was about 110 hours of gameplay for me.
Chris Davis,
So I'll be playing this until the end of the year.
What was your body count?
For companions?
Yeah.
I didn't lose any of the major companions.
No, your body count. Your body count.
Body count.
How many people did you fuck? Who did you fuck?
Don't tell us who. I just want to know how many.
I only fucked one, and that's because I kind of messed up.
Who?
I can't say because it's an Act 3 spoiler. I won't say. I can't say.
What?
Yeah, it's an Act 3 spoiler. I can't.
It's not a prostitute, is it?
Speaking of body count, did y'all see the thing floating around Twitter and stuff about the person who committed to murdering every NPC in Act 1 and then storing all of their bodies in a single house?
No.
That sounds like a
Are they a
thing
necromancer? Are they a necromancer?
I don't know, but like there's a screenshot online of the house, kind of like they went into the tactical view so you can see top down, and it's just corpses everywhere.
So good. Actually,
good
I think
stuff.
I know who Chris Davis is talking about, and if it is who I think, then he's a fucking freak.
We need to have a conversation.
I don't trust y'all with this conversation.
After the podcast, Chris.
It's crazy that like if you want to understand why I love like the Divinity Original Sin game so much, but I never finished 2, it's that all the talk about Act 3 in Baldur's Gate, like, oh, it's bugged, it's fucked. They're gonna fix it. Patch. This was how it was for Divinity Original Sin 2, and I really took my time with that game, and I kept hearing about Act 3, and Larian's like, we're gonna fix it, patch. And by the time I got to Act 3, I was like, well, by the time I got to Act 3, they announced like the version where they are going to completely redo Act 3, and I'm like, okay, I'll wait for that. Yeah. And then it was like, your save doesn't carry over, and I was like, no. And I swear to God, I'm worried about that for Baldur's Gate 3 now. So I just got.
Well, the fact that Chris Davis managed to play through it.
No.
You know,
it's not that it's not playable, but like some of the ways it gets fucked up, like it fucks up, is like some of the ways that I've heard it described sounds really like unfortunate. Like the way
I could have a whole conversation about it, but I really don't want to spoil it for y'all because it is.
And this is a 4-player minute.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a. I think the Act 3 is fine. I've got some complaints about it, but they're not game breaking.
Okay.
It's
good to know.
Overall, I really enjoy the game. I want to revisit this game probably in a year after some significant patches, after some DLC. And definitely after they add a new Game Plus mode, because
gotta do my evil gay run.
There is a lot of content that I missed out that I've learned about after the fact that I really wish I got to experience.
They just added a bunch of story content like today or whenever that.
Yeah, they added especially some stuff for the epilogue, which was desperately needed.
Well, for one of the companions at least, like they kind of changed their whole.
This is what I'm talking about. This is how I got fucked last.
Which means in about 4 months, when I finally get to Act 3, it's going to be a different game.
Oh, all Nick, if you're in Act 3 in 4 months, I'll fucking.
You're not going to be in Act. You're barely going to be in Act 2 before.
The way you're moving.
Yeah.
Why y'all gotta be? Hey, what do y'all want from me? I've already spent 32 hours.
We're fucking around with those goblins, Nick.
Yeah.
I mean,
we got important things to do. We got a world to save.
That's true. All right, Brad. Final thoughts.
Well, final thoughts. I've been playing Armored Core lately, and it got me thinking about mech things and how a remake of Front Mission 2 was supposed to come out around the same time, but it got delayed indefinitely. Who knows when that's coming out? I'm a little sad about it anyways, because they call it a remake, but it's really a demake, if you know about Front Mission 2. And I'm just sort of in a mechy mood. And, I have the holy trinity of mobile phone games. And, I've been playing a lot of Slice and Dice, of course. As y'all know, I love Slice and Dice. And then I've been lately, though, I've been back on the Slay the Spire kick, which is Slay the Spire kick. But then the third game of the Holy Trinity, which I'm just gonna hop back to now because it fits perfect with my mech interest is of course Into the Breach. So
Mm.
Into the Breach is gonna be I'm just sort of like going around the circle of the perfect mobile phone games. So I'm gonna scratch my mech game itch when I'm not don't have access to my PS5 with one of the greatest mech games of all time, Into the Breach. I love it so much. But man, let me tell you, if you have a phone, you should get those 3 games because it's kind of all you need, and they're the perfect mobile phone games, and I love them. But yeah, I don't know. What else is there to say? Oh, I got my son or my wife and I got our son a Switch for his birthday, and
Nice.
his first video game system is Nintendo. And
Oh my
let
We
god.
me tell
played. What
you,
was his first game?
the
His
way they
first system
handle
is
it,
a Switch.
the way they handle like any sort of like family account sharing or whatever Nintendo does, it's like, oh, well, I bought all these games digitally. Let me just log in to my account on this Switch and he can play those. And they make it so fucked and complicated, and it's such a pain in the ass.
Because they want you
Basically,
to just
he
rebuy
can't.
them.
It's my secondary Switch, I guess technically, but he can't access those games unless he has access to Wi-Fi. Like a Wi-Fi checks before he can like play those games, so he can't ever like play them in a car. It's just it's stupid. But he's got some games. He's got Minecraft and some other
What a
stuff.
You shouldn't give him
plebe.
that. You should give him the Paper Mario and the Origami King. I keep wanting to go
What
back to
a
that
He
game. For some
doesn't know how to
normie.
reason.
read yet. You can't
Oh.
you
Oh
can't play a game
yeah.
like
Okay.
that. He's
Good
working on
point.
it. There was ways going to school for kindergarten. They're
Is
gonna learn him how to read. But he's he's having a good time. He's got I saw on the store Lego Marvel or something was on sale for like $6, so I got him that, and he's been
Lego
running
games are
around
perfect for them.
as that stuff. So he's having a good time, and
Nice.
it's a lot better than the trash he had on his tablet. So this was sort of like a switcheroo. Like, oh, you want this Nintendo Switch? You're never going to play your tablet ever again. Fuck this thing, because now that he's in school, I hate that fucking tablet. So he gets to play a little bit of Switch on the weekend, and that's that. So
Did
Nice.
you
he's
get
having
him
a
a
good
regular
time.
Switch or a Switch Lite?
Switch Lite,
I
Okay.
keep forgetting
and
about.
it's
I
got
keep
like a
forgetting
big
about that
ass
thing.
foam like encasing. So I don't know. He's 6
Yeah.
now, but I'm still worried he's gonna like destroy this thing.
Right.
So
Kids
yeah.
are kids is what
Yeah,
they'll do.
it
it's been
one of the
interesting, but
OLED ones?
no. A Switch Lite. He can't connect it to a
I don't
TV,
think
which is
they've made
still
a Switch
absurd.
Lite, a
It,
Switch
it's
OLED
They
Lite.
have
absurd. You
not.
can't just plug a USB-C cable and like have it connect to a TV via the dock or something. But whatever. I guess they didn't want to do that. I'm pretty sure that there's not tech in there that it needed to be able to do that. But
They removed
Nintendo's
that
gonna
port from the
Nintendo.
motherboard on the Switch. Yeah.
So weird.
So
So
stupid.
weird.
So stupid. But yeah, that's that.
All right. My final thought. Two final thoughts. Oh my god, what the hell's wrong with me? Oh, so yeah. So I started watching Ahsoka. On Disney
Yeah.
Plus. I watched one
Oh.
episode of Ahsoka and I was like, this is really good.
I haven't
But
seen 3 yet.
fine. I'll go back and watch Rebels because it was
What?
very clear to me very
That's it.
quickly.
You have to watch a cartoon to have
Rebels is good. Rebels is
No,
really good.
I'm
Yeah,
almost
Shut
to the
up.
how
first
much of Rebels is there?
Shut your bitch.
4 seasons, 77 episodes, but they're all about 20,
Oh my
20
god,
to
you're gonna
22.
watch.
It's only about they're like literally 20 to 22 minutes each episode. Like I can watch 3 episodes in an hour. I'm
I
almost through
mean,
season 1.
Oh,
that's
Um
true.
think you
You can knock
need
out 18
to.
seasons of Bones in a month. You
and
can handle this.
Yeah.
by the time I get through Rebels, I'll have like 5 more episodes of Ahsoka to just binge through. Because that first episode I thought was really great, but I was like, okay, it's very clear to me that this is just filled with Rebels references.
It is.
So I'm gonna do it.
I don't think you need it, but
You don't
I
need it,
highly
but-
recommend
Good? Is
it.
the show good?
Rebels, yeah.
Which one?
It's
Rebels
really
or
good.
Ahsoka? Yeah, Rebels is pretty good.
That was
Rebels is
Rebels.
really
I'm
good.
talking about.
Rebels, like
the new
Ahsoka's good. I mean,
Ahsoka's
I've only
Rosario
watched
Dawson show.
the
I've
first
only watched
2.
one episode, but it was like honestly, I was like, this is probably
What
one of
is
my
the
favorite.
vibe? I mean, so much of it, Star Wars has been relying on like
It's a
a
very
kind of like a Han
action.
Solo-y type like lead. What the fuck is this?
It feels very akin to like the Mandalorian, but obviously with the focus on a Jedi
But is she like
character.
super serious? I mean, what is the vibe
I mean,
there?
she's always been kind of a serious
She's
character.
I don't know. I've been worrying about this new season of Castlevania or this new spin-off series of Castlevania because it's Richter Belmont, and I don't think he's going to bring the same kind of like vibe and energy as like Trevor and Sypha and Alucard. I mean, like Trevor is very much a a charming rogue kind of like character, but like Richter is not going to be like that. So I'm worried that this new series is going to be like super serious and it's not going to be like as fun to watch, but we'll see.
Hey, all I'll say is that the first episode of Ahsoka was the kind of vibe I really like from Star Wars, and the production value was. I mean, it's like
it's
if you've
real,
seen
like,
The Mandalorian, it's like The Mandalorian. Just in
But the
terms of
Mandalorians don't like that.
oh my god.
what's up, Crispy?
Nothing. Never mind.
No, I mean, I still want you to say, but I was talking with Nick. What do you have to say? Is it related to that?
No.
All right.
All I was gonna say, it's a very like kind of high fantasy, like action adventure kind of thing so far. I mean, it's not even like I don't know. Never mind. I lost my train of thought.
I mean,
You guys piss me off.
I don't know.
Fantasy? Like Lord
I
of
don't
the
know.
Rings? What are you talking about here?
Oh my god.
Let's just end the show.
Okay. Well, I was trying to finish my
I don't
final
know.
thought, which Ahsoka's really good. You know, I liked
wanna
Andor
know
a
what
lot,
Crispy is.
and God, I don't know. Okay, let's wrap it up.
You're
I
weird.
don't.
You're weird. Just talk. Use your words.
I
Right.
can't. I literally forgot what I was gonna say because I tried to throw it out there like
Well,
4 times and you guys just steamrolled over me. I'm done.
So say you forgot.
The show's over. I did, and you were like, "Oh, I know what Crispy had to say."
So
Okay.
Crispy forgot. What about you, Nick?
I don't know. I've lost my train of thought too.
You forgot too. Y'all both forgot. Well,
Hey,
you know.
Ahsoka's pretty good. I'm watching Rebels. You know, the other significant event in my life that's happened this past week, I guess, and I've known this was coming at some point for a long time, but I got in like I started watching true crime documentaries again, and then I kind of ran out of true crime documentaries, and I was like, I'm still in the mood for true crime documentaries, and then I started going down the
impossible.
And then I started going down the true crime podcasting rabbit hole.
No.
So now I've listened to I've probably listened to like 12 or 13 hours worth of true crime podcasts over the past week and a half.
Did you watch the CNN document series about Patty Hearst?
No, shit.
There's a really good one it's on HBO Max. It's like
okay.
I don't know, it's a few episodes, but it's all about I don't know if you know the story of Patty Hearst.
I don't, but
she's the lady that was kidnapped by political dissidents and then like ended up joining them and becoming like a political revolutionary, and then after the fact said she got Stockholm syndrome.
Oh,
like,
shit.
it's a whole thing.
That.
And she's the granddaughter of Randolph Hearst. Like, she's from old money. Like,
yeah, no, I'd watch that. I ended up watching. I started because I was kind of like running out. Like, I've seen all all the major ones, right? And everybody kept telling me to watch "Don't Fuck with Cats," and I was like, I don't think I can watch that because of like animal cruelty shit. And I finally was like, everyone says it's good. I'm just gonna try and push through it and watch it. And I did, and it's a hard watch. It's tough. It's the first episode in particular is hard to watch. But man, that shit gets crazy. And by the end of it, I was like, that was one of the best documentaries I think I've ever seen. It was so good.
Speaking of crazy, Strange Addiction is back. There's a lady who eats couch cushions and car cushions, and she is no longer talking with her sister because she ate her and sister's entire couch.
I'm sorry, Brad. Are you equating couch eating people to people who listen to true crime podcasts? Because that's what it sounds like.
What? Sure, I guess. I don't know. I'm just talking about some exciting news.
He did post a screenshot from that in our Discord, and I thought I got a good kick out of that.
The absolute hit of modern television.
No, stop it.
Yes, it is.
Stop it. It's just a show about Pica, and Pica's interesting.
Disgusting.
Oh.
All right.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks for listening. Guys, of course, if you like our show, please leave us a review. Join us in Discord at discord.gg/4player. And of course, you can find all of our episodes over at 4playernetwork.com or on your preferred podcasting service.
She buys cars and just starts eating the car seats.
We'll be back next week for another episode. Oh God.
Yeah.
Which cushions? Okay, sorry. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.